sending that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin! Welcome to the Dordt Financial Center in Flint, Michigan, as we get ready for tonight's matchup between the Barrie Colts and the Flint Firebirds. I'm your host, Mike Poirier, joined alongside Josh McCann, and the Barrie Colts right now in the midst of a 4-game road trip. Got off to a pretty rough start Sunday afternoon in Brantford, so this Colts team looking to learn from those mistakes and get ready for another tough opponent here with the Firebirds.
Yeah, pretty tough start to the road trip. I mean, two of the best teams in hockey. Both teams that the Barrie Colts were 1-0 against coming into the game, so both teams kind of looking for revenge. And that game against Brantford kind of got away from Barrie, the final game of a 3-4, and you could tell how tired they were in that third period. I mean, the first 40 minutes, they were right in it with the Bulldogs, but a couple turnovers, all of a sudden it was 4-1, and Brantford kind of just took off from there. It kind of seemed like Brantford was out to make a statement against Barrie on Sunday.
Well, that game meant so much to the Eastern Conference standings because a win there for the Barrie Colts would have put them within a couple of points of Brantford for top spot in the Eastern Conference. But instead, with Brantford getting that win, now it's a 5-point difference between first and second in the Eastern Conference standings. So for the Colts, you're going to have another tough opponent here against the Firebirds, a team that's right now third in the Western Conference standings, just 2 points out of first behind the Windsor Spitfires. So this almost feels like a must-win as well for the Flint Firebirds after coming off a loss to the Windsor Spitfires last weekend.
Yeah, a couple tough losses as of late. They've been kind of skittish as of late. They haven't been as good as they've shown this season since the trade deadline. I'm sure Kevin He and Jacob Battaglia are still getting used to their new home. But watching the Flint Firebirds in that game at the Sadlin Arena against the Barrie Colts, and kind of feels like the two teams have a bit of a different style of play. The Barrie Colts, they want to shut things down. They want to play on the forecheck. The Flint Firebirds, though, they're very run and gun style. They're not going to do anything super impressive in the defensive zone. But once they get the puck, it's just like that, and they're right in the zone with a great scoring opportunity.
And we've seen Kevin He so much with the Niagara Ice Dogs. We were even saying before the broadcast how strange it is seeing Kevin He not wearing an Ice Dogs uniform, but he brings that intensity, and we've seen it time and time again with the Niagara Ice Dogs, what he's capable of. And for the Flint Firebirds, quite the pickup of the trade deadline, and you know that's a player that's going to be able to change the fortunes of this Firebird squad.
Yeah, he's one of the best players out there, and it seems like the Niagara Ice Dogs in the first half, it seems like things just weren't clicking right. It seems like everyone was probably a bit annoyed over the events of the last couple of years, and I think a fresh start for Kevin He was probably the best thing possible for him. And it's funny looking at the media guide coming into the top 3 scorers against the Barrie Colts this season, because Flint's only played 1 game, so third and second they have 1 point. But for Kevin, he's got 7 points against the Barrie Colts this season. He's been really good against them. And then as well, of course, Jacob Battaglia, another guy the Barrie Colts pretty familiar with. They played that series against them last year, went 7 games against Kingston. He had points in the first 6, but Barrie figured him out for game 7 and shut him down. And that was a big part of the reason the Barrie Colts went off to the conference finals.
Now, some good news for the Barrie Colts. Carter Lowe back in the lineup. He missed Sunday's game due to personal reasons. So Carter Lowe, he slots back in here. Still no Jonah McCormick, so him and Edgar will be on that 4th line. But, you've got the depth. And for the Barrie Colts, it's that next man up mentality. And we saw that last weekend against Brantford. Obviously, the game fell short, but it is quite nice, I think, for Dylan Smoskowitz and company to have Carter Lowe back here in the lineup.
Yeah, it's nice to see Carter back in the lineup. And, Carter Lowe, you look at the stats this season, they don't exactly come off the charts. It's as, wow, that guy's been a really, really good for the Colts this year. But I've been really impressed with the way that third line has worked. Joe Slander's now up on the second line tonight with Calvin Ferrandi going down to the third line. But I thought Carter Lowe and William Schneider have looked really good together over the last couple of weeks. Remember, Lowe had those 2 goals against the Owen Sound attack a while back. And in that game against Flint, it was the third line opening the score, and Carter Lowe to William Schneider for that game opening goal.
So we're going to take a look at our Coach's Corner presented by Mariposa School of Skating, catching up with Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz pregame before the Colts and the Firebirds. Joined by Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. It's the trip through Michigan. First night here against the Flint Firebirds, a team you guys played recently. You guys played pretty well against, win up in Barrie, but you got to figure this is a team that's looking to get those 2 points back.
Yeah, they're a good team. Flint's a good team, one of the top teams in the West this year, and it's always a tough building to play in. I know there's a stat stat out there that the Barrie Colts have never lost in this building, which we'll take with we'll put it's a nice feather in our cap. But again, it's a really tough team this year. I liked our week of practice. I liked our kind of road trip so far. The guys have some time to bond and hang out as a group, as a family, which is always nice. So looking forward to a good test tonight.
And this is coming off that tough loss in Brantford, a game where you guys had a great 40 minutes, but it seemed like the third period just got away from you guys with a few turnovers there.
Yeah, we're really looking for a response tonight. It's something that we've talked about throughout the week. A lot of adjustments were made and a lot of video and review and stuff like that. So we just kind of talked about it as a group too. You get punched in the face, you got two choices. You got to stay down, you get up and swing back. So we're looking forward to swinging back tonight.
And of course, the Firebirds have two players you guys are familiar with, Kevin He, who used to play with Niagara, and Jacob Battaglia with Kingston, who you played in the playoffs last year. Is that a factor at all in this when you know a couple of the players really well on a Western Conference opponent?
It's a little bit of a factor. I mean, we like to credit ourselves with knowing everyone, whether you play them 8 times or 2 times. But it is nice to know some tendencies of some of the guys who we've seen before.
And so for this one against the Flint Firebirds, Arvin Jaswal getting the start. He's been pretty solid these last few games.
Yeah, really solid. That's why we think that Jazz really deserves a start here. He's been great for us, so to get him into a game against one of the top teams in the league, we're excited to watch him tonight.
So that was Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, and you can hear in the background how the players coming out of the room with the music blaring, and they're ready for this game, and they're getting quite excited. They know what's on the line here between these two teams, tops really in the Ontario Hockey League in their respective conferences.
Yeah, it's another big game for the Barrie Colts, and we felt that playoff atmosphere last weekend in Brantford. You could tell right from the puck drop, the energy in the crowd, the physicality right off the bat. And it really felt like a playoff game last weekend against Brantford. I don't know if we'll get as close to a playoff game as we did last weekend with these two teams being in separate conferences, but this is a big game for both these teams to prove themselves. Flint coming off a couple losses to a couple of the better teams in the league. You lose to Windsor last week. You lost to Barrie a couple of weeks ago. Probably wanting to prove, hey, we belong with these teams. Barrie kind of in a similar spot. He just had that tough loss against Brantford. I mean, if you lose that game 2-1, it may not mean as much, but coming off a 7-1 defeat, you definitely want to remind people how good you are.
Now, it was a little surprised during the interview there with Dylan Smoskowitz how he brought up the fact that since Flint arrived in the OHL from Plymouth, the Barrie Colts are 8-0 here at the Dordt Financial Center. No overtime losses, all regulation losses for Flint against the Barrie Colts. So I thought that was interesting that Dylan Smoskowitz would bring that up, because I'm thinking in our chat how often we've been yelled at for saying things, but it just goes to show the confidence that Smoskowitz and company bring.
Well, I haven't seen Tammy comment yet, so I don't think she's here yet, so I think we can get it out quickly now, but I think that gives us permission to talk about it. And the Barrie Colts have been dominant here in Flint over the years. 0-8 is the Firebirds record at home against the Barrie Colts. Every other team in the OHL has lost here at the Dordt. Barrie Colts, though, they haven't, and they're looking to make it a perfect 9-0 here.
Yeah, so it's obviously being in opposite conferences, the Barrie Colts really haven't had too many experiences coming here, as Flint moved here from Plymouth back in the 2015-2016 season, I do believe. And, for this Firebirds team, it's an organization that's been trying to build things up. They've had a lot of disappointing seasons and just trying to figure things out, but right now, we've been talking to quite a few people here at the Dordt. There's a lot of enthusiasm with this Firebirds team, and they're excited to see what's in store here against the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, it's a really strong Firebirds team. Looking at the starting lineup tonight, I mean, they've got 3 deep lines. Kevin He and Jacob Battaglia are on the third line, and that first and second line are still pretty good as well. It's not one of those scenarios where it looks like the third line's better than the second line. The second line is just as good. So they're a very deep team offensively, and they were one of the busiest teams at the trade deadline. 15 draft picks as well as Chase Hall sent out the other way to get Battaglia and He. So there's going to be a lot of excitement here in Flint. And it kind of feels like the last 2 seasons, it's kind of been swapped, where last year in the offseason, they made a couple decent moves, and you wonder, hey, are the Flint Firebirds going to be contenders? Last season, it doesn't pan out that way. They struggle a bit. And then this season, kind of figured they'd be a middle of the pack team, maybe near the bottom of the Western Conference, but they've really broken out, and especially thanks to Nathan Aspinall, 6'7" forward. He's tied for the lead at points, 5th round pick by the New York Rangers, and he's right around when he signed that entry-level contract that he started taking off.
Yeah, I was going to mention that really, since he signed that entry-level contract, the trajectory of this Flint Firebirds team just went in a whole other direction. As everyone in the Western Conference was talking about the Kitchener Rangers and the Windsor Spitfires. They were seen as the heavy favorites. And then after that, okay, maybe London, maybe the Sioux. Nobody really gave the Flint Firebirds much credit. And, Nathan Aspinall has been fantastic. Even the play of Mason Vicari coming over from the Kingston Frontenacs. Flint's kind of that Kingston light team because you've got Vicari, you've got Thibodeau, you've got Battaglia. Key players that we saw even last year when the Barrie Colts were in that best of 7 series.
Yeah, Vicari, I think he's the biggest surprise with Flint Firebird, coming in. He had struggled a bit in Kingston over the years. He always had that potential, but he was never really able to figure it out. And now here at Flint, he's been one of their biggest surprises, and he's doing it on a Firebirds team, both for their offense, not their defense. So he's doing a great job, and if he can keep up his performance and they can get some solid defensive play, Flint's going to be in top out in the playoffs.
So we do have the chat up and running. They're introducing the players right now here at the Dorts, and I'm seeing Richard saying hello, and he doesn't want to hear anything similar to what we heard in the third last Sunday. That was a tough loss. Would have been a very quiet ride home on the bus, I imagine. And also factor in the weather. As we driving home for us, even it was quite the experience going through the GTA. So, that was just a tough one all around for the Barrie Colts, and that's why I think coming into today's game, they want to put that one behind them, learn from those mistakes, and put their best foot forward here against this Flint Firebirds team.
Yeah, it'll be great to bounce back and really prove yourself. And yeah, like you mentioned about the drive home, we couldn't see in Mississauga, but we somehow found our way through and. We ended up making it home. Thought we may have to sleep in a hotel or something, but we were able to make it.
So the players are on the ice. They're getting ready for the national anthem. So we'll take a quick break. But when we return, we will have the first period between the Barrie Colts and the Flint Firebirds. We are just about ready to go for the first period of play here from the Dordt Financial Center between the Barrie Colts and the Flint Firebirds. And while we have a moment, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders, presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes, minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, first for the Barrie Colts, a bit of a surprise. It's Arvin Jaswell getting the start for Barrie. Start number 15 on the season for Jaswell. 10-3-0-1 with a .930 save percentage and a .217 goals against average. Jaswell's last appearance came last Saturday against Brampton, where he was a perfect 20 of 20. For the Flint Firebirds, Mason Vicari making appearance number 36 on the season. The Mississauga native, 25-7-1-1 with a .913 save percentage and .260 goals against average. His last start came on January 24th against Windsor, stopping 22 of 25 in the loss.
Our referees tonight, Matt Golby and Andre Grogru, and on the lines, Riley Brass and Joseph Erickson, as we are just about ready to go here between the Colts and the Firebirds. Right now, just wrapping up in the corner where they had the national anthem choir. Quite the choir. That was a huge choir.
Choir was huge. Did you notice they had a couple kids out to deliver the puck?
Yeah.
They delivered the puck to the officials. We were wondering if it was like a big in-the-box presentation, but no, they just bring out the puck and they hand it to them.
Well, the game is underway. Face-off won by the Firebirds. Puck's turned over. Hemming fires, and Vicari gets a paddle on it. Puck goes to the corner. Wilmot, he's taken into the boards by Fellinger, and the puck's going to go down the length of the ice, and icing is waved off. Winning that race was Darian Anderson. Anderson in the corner, in front. Padrekar couldn't settle it down, and that puck's now going to sail back into the Flint zone, and it's an icing against the Barrie Colts.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how long this 0-0 tie remains. The first time these two teams faced each other, William Schneid opened the scoring on his first shift of the game, and it was 2-1 for the Colts 12 minutes into that one.
Yeah, that game just, I believe, 2 weeks ago. It wasn't that long, and right now, both going head-to-head once more as the Colts looking for the season sweep of Flint. Firebirds win the face-off. Ozzy takes the shot. Jaswell got a piece of it. Puck goes behind the net. Thibodeau there for Flint in front, backhand. That's going to go wide of the net. Sending that one across was Alex Kostov. Puck's in the corner. Nojanskis will send this one back to Pazzi. Pazzi riding the blue line, takes the shot, and that one deflected over the net. Kostov gets this one back to the blue line. Good pressure here from the Firebirds. There's a shot deflected wide of the net. Ends up in the corner. Firebirds get it again. Moving this one around, but that's going to get away from Thibodeau and down the ice. Firebirds pick it up their own blue line. Kostov, he'll drop this one back, picked up by Pazzi, the former North Bay Battalion. Pazzi lost the handle, but able to help him out was Graziano. Graziano in front, turnover, Salandra in front, Gardner shot, puts over the net. What a chance for Brad Gardner. Gardner gets it again at the corner, back to Hanser. He's going to send it around. Zabeski can't get a stick on it. Puck comes around the boards. Von Richter off the point. That's going to get by him. Picking it up is Smith. Smith trying to get a lane to the net, stopped by Hanser, drops it back to Kevin He. He will go around the Barrie net, still with it, back to the line. Allen quickly across, but not able to hold that one. Was the defense on the far side. Firebirds dump this one in. Colts pick it up. Parker Von Richter. He's going to leave it behind his own net there for Justin Hanser. Colts right now are completing a line change. Hanser moves it up. He'll pass it up to Von Richter. Von Richter across. Schneid gets a stick on it. William Schneid to the corner. In a battle there with Komodowski. Schneid still with it. Komodowski reaching around. Schneid twisting, goes towards the net. Around the goal, backhand pass to Emerton at the point. Cole Emerton doesn't take the shot. He'll wait, sends this one around, ends up behind the Flint net. Battaglia sends this one ahead to the line, kept in by Schneid. He is run over. What a hit by Kevin He. Firebirds moving up. Battaglia on the near side towards the net. Kevin He couldn't get a stick on it. Eliason gets to the loose puck. Colts moving out. Here's Crombie at center. Calvin Crombie had in his skates. He's going to dump this one in. Vicari out of his net to play it. He's going to leave it there for Padrekar. Padrekar taking his time here. Both teams making changes. We're approaching the 3-minute mark of the first period. Puck sent into the zone. Cunningham trying to get to it. Delayed offside right now against the Firebirds as Gabriel Eliason's going to go for a skate. Eliason reaches center. He's going to dump it in. Vicari out of his net to play it. Leaves it for Padrekar. Urban Padrekar. He'll skate this one to center, facing pressure from Desiderio. That pass to that head. Deflected. Colts get it out to center ice. Firebirds trying to send it in. That was Colosimo. Taken away by Aitchison. Keyshawn Aitchison, he's going to dump this one in around the boards. Vicari out of his net again to play it. Sends it around. Cunningham knocks it down. Sends this one forward. Colosimo lost the handle as he was escaping the zone. Loose puck picked up by Cunningham. He'll take the shot. Blocked by Passmore. Lost sight of it. Puck rolls to the net. Firebirds with a chance, but that's poked away. At the point, Zanskas takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. It's behind him. And off the line. Saved by Jaden Newton. Jaswal had no idea that puck was right behind him. Colts send this one down the ice. Hemming tips it back to Wilmot. Wilmot can't hold on to that one. Bodwin sends it forward. Bodwin picks it up for the Colts. Across, Hemming! One-timer stopped by Vicari. That puck's going to sail to the line, but not out. Lombardi can't get to it. Von Richter, his pass to the slot. Wilmot can't get a stick on it. Anderson will move it up. Here's Jimmy Lombardi. Lombardi gets by Hanser. He's got a lane to the net, trying to get a backhand. Stopped by Jaswal. Colts send this one around. Picking it up, that's Ujanskis. Ujanskis rides the line, sends this one to the far corner. Hanser after it here for the Colts. Lombardi sends it to Anderson, but that pass doesn't connect. Colts move this one out. Here's Cole Bodwin. What a pace as Bodwin stood up at the Flint blue line. Vicari sends this one up to Lombardi. Has it in his skates, takes a hit there from Salandra. Salandra sends it back into the Firebird zone. Joe Salandra putting this one around the boards. Gardner's going to let it go back to Aitchison. His shot's blocked. And that one is tipped out of play, but what a pace to this one.
Well, we got an early whistle, and then they just kept going there for a while. Great look there for the Firebirds. Puck goes back to the point. Olyansky is the one that sends a shot. They've been trying to get those point shots to go here early on, and it gets behind Jaswal, but I don't think anyone except Jaden Newton realized that the puck was sitting there. The crowd was getting on east, and Newton's there to slide it across. Brad Gardner and Emil Hemming, both with a couple nice looks as well for the Colts.
Yeah, what a play by Jaden Newton, bailing out Arvin Jaswal as the puck goes deep. Passmore into the corner here for the Colts. A player is tripped up. Not sure who that was in for Barrie. Looks like it's Zabeski. Here's Slander at the point. Takes the shot. Stopped by Vicari. Gardner has that one knocked away by Podrekar. He's going to get this one down the ice. Icing is waved off. Passmore back to play. He's got Pazzi on him, but that's going to roll on net, and Arvin Jaswal is going to cover it up. But my, oh my, what a game so far here. Now we get some pushing and shoving after the whistle. I think we're going to get a couple of penalties here. I think Zabeski a little upset after what happened at the opposite end of the ice. But we'll wait and see how these penalties work out.
Potsy was in behind Passmore there, and then Aitchison gave him a little shot on a drive-by, and then Zabeski came after him. And Zabeski going to go to the box for the Colts. It was a bit of a scary moment there for him as he went down, then Passmore got taken out. It looked like Passmore almost ended up with his skates on top of Zabeski. Luckily, doesn't look like anything happened to him.
Well, the way Zabeski went into the corner, took the feet from under Evan Passmore and fell right on top of him. So now we've got Zabeski and Kostov in the penalty box. So it's going to be some 4-on-4 hockey. Face-off will come to the right of Ben Harebic.
I like how
Jaswal, rather.
I like how there's railings here, and then there's no board for the penalty box. So you can just walk out and leave.
It's wide open. Well, I ended up doing my short in the penalty box because there was a lot of room down there.
I got a picture down there. It's
a nice. This arena's not too bad.
It's healthy.
So it's a 4-on-4 situation as Hemming will skate it in for the Colts. His pass blocked by Ujanskis, picked up by Bodwin. Cole Bodwin back to the blue line for Aitchison. Keyshawn Aitchison leaves it there for Von Richter. Von Richter's pass ends up behind Lombardi, ends up in the corner. Jimmy Lombardi picks it up here for the Firebirds. Firebirds with possession as Ujanskis. He'll set things up here for Flint, being chased out by Cole Bodwin. Ujanskis through the neutral zone, carries this one in for Flint. He's forced to the outside by Von Richter. Around the net he goes. Ujanskis back to Graziano. Graziano passing that one over to Aspinall. Aspinall waits, fires, stopped by Jaswal. Puck's loose, and he's able to cover it up. But we're going to get another penalty here. This time it's a slash. And this looks to be going against Keyshawn Aitchison, so the Firebirds will get the first power play of the hockey game.
We're going to get a minute, 9 seconds of some good old 4-on-3 action here as Keyshawn Aitchison goes to the box alongside Mason Zabeski, and then, of course, Alex Costa on the Flint side. Costa, an interesting guy to watch for here tonight. Coming into this game, 18th in OHL scoring with 52 points in 41 games. Colts fans didn't get to see him at the Sadlin Arena 2 weeks ago, coming back from that prospect game. A bit sick, so we missed a bit of that northern road trip there for Flint, but now back and ready to go here.
Yeah, I understand there was a bit of a flu bug that may have been going through the locker room of the Flint Firebirds, but obviously Paul Flash not going to want to use that as an excuse because that was a pretty tough road swing there for the Flint Firebirds.
They were lucky to get points. I mean, they went down to Sudbury and they were really struggling. They lost like in 7-2 it ended up, and then they go down 3-0 to North Bay after the first period, come flying back with 4 in the second to go on and win that game.
So the Flint Firebirds get the first power play of the night. Their power play right now ranked 9th in the OHL, operating at 20.5%. The Barrie Colts penalty kill took a hit Sunday, dropping to 10th at 79.5%. Firebirds win the draw. One-timer stopped by Jazzwall, and Beaudoin's going to get it down the ice. That was launched by Nathan Aspinall, as he has been red hot this season. Aspinall, 24 goals, 38 assists, good for 62 points. He's skating it up here for Flint. Aspinall takes the shot, stopped by Jazzwall. The puck was sitting there, but the Colts goaltender able to pounce on it before Jimmy Lombardi could get there.
It'll be interesting to see. Last time these two teams played, Barrie, of course, Hemming with 2 goals, Aitchison with a goal, but it really wasn't the top guys for the Flint Firebirds getting the job done. Charlie Murata, their first-round draft pick, got his 2nd goal of the season, and then Ryland Fellinger, a defenseman known for his defense, getting his 2nd goal of the season.
Face-off won by the Firebirds. Podrekar sends it down low. One-timer stopped by Jazzwall. The Colts will get it out. Flint right now getting their chances off the draw, but the Colts doing a great job clearing it out quickly. As the first penalized players, Zabeski and Kostov, set to come out of the box in 25 seconds. Podrekar at the point. Urban Podrekar down low. There's a chance off the post. It's getting into the blue paint. The horn went off, but I don't think that puck crossed the line, as that's the second time the Firebirds got a puck through Arvin Jazzwall, but somehow that stayed out again.
Well, I thought that went in. I couldn't see it go in, but Dorian Anderson slides it around Jazzwall right off the post and then through Jazzwall's legs. Back out front, Firebirds realize that Jazzwall able to dive on it before Lombardi gets there, and then for good measure, Passmore and Eliasson do their best job at taking Lombardi out there before he could get another chance.
This Firebirds team, they are buzzing early on as the 4-on-3 situation comes to an end in 13 seconds. The Colts quickly get this one down the length of the ice. Podrekar with possession. Ahead for Lombardi. He's got speed through the neutral zone. Makes the move, and that puck got away from him. Puck goes to the near corner. Von Richter's there trying to get a stick on it. Picked up by Hanser. Kostov and Zabeski are now back on the ice, so it's a 5-on-4 situation for 46 seconds. Right now it's Kayshawn Aitchison in the penalty box for Barrie as the Firebirds will set up deep in their own zone. With possession, Ujansis. They'll move this one out. Zabeski there on the forecheck. Nearly took it away. Firebirds with possession. Battaglia keeps it away from Zabeski. He skates through center. Battaglia enters the zone. Gets it by Crombie. Down to the corner for Pazzi. Sends this one around. Colts pick it off. They can't get it out of the zone. Passes it across to Pazzi. Back to Battaglia. Jacob Battaglia down to the corner. Drops it for Pazzi. Pazzi gets it again here for Flint. Looks down low. Battaglia from the corner. Passes it back. Ujanskis takes the shot. Stopped by Jazzwall. Puck sent to the corner. Zabeski can't get a stick on it. Colts will get this one out. Aitchison ready to come out of the box. So Flint now 0 for 1 on the man advantage tonight. Jacob Battaglia through the neutral zone. He'll skate this one in for Flint. Takes it to the near corner. That pass off Von Richter. Back to the blue line. Fellinger keeps this one in. Sends it ahead to Kostov. Kostov down low to Thibodeau. He can't get a stick on it. He's sent into the boards. Battle ensues. Sent behind the Barrie net. Justin Hanser. He's going to move it up here for the Barrie Colts. Flips this one ahead. Carter Lowe didn't see it. Went behind him. Firebirds deep in their own zone. That's Dryden Allen behind his own net. We've got 11:24 still to play in the first period. Still looking for our first goal of the hockey game as Murata sends this one deep. Jazzwall tried to slow it down behind his own net. Eliasson gets this one ahead. Carter Lowe. That pass intended for Brad Gardner, but that's going to miss. And it's an icing call now against the Colts. Flint right now out shooting Barrie 11-3.
Yeah, great start for Flint here. 11 shots in the first 9 minutes. And a couple of good looks on that power play, but not able to capitalize. Coming into today, Flint 0 for 14 in their last 6 games of the power play. So sure, they're desperate to try and get one on the power play here tonight, but unable to get get the job done there despite a couple good looks.
Yeah, this Firebirds team, they were ready to play here tonight. They want to get back in the win column after losing Saturday here at home to the Windsor Spitfires on Coney Dog Night. A lot of great merch from Coney Dog Night here. If you haven't seen it, you got to look it up. The Flint Coney Dogs.
Well, and then there was the eating contest.
Oh, they went all out here at the door.
I wish we were there that night.
Right? Here's Brad Gardner, sends it towards the net, but that's taken away by Graziano. Gets this one out to center. Ben Wilmot with possession. Fans on the pass attempt. Graziano gets it again at his own blue line. Sends this one up to Aspinall. Nathan Aspinall will flip this one forward. Gabriel Eliason's there for Barrie. Chips it up to Emerton. Emerton up to center ice. Here's Emil Hemming. Across for Wilmot. Wilmot got a stick on it. Puck goes in the air. Stays in play. Cole Bodwin taken into the corner. Picked up by Aspinall, and the Firebirds will get it out. Puck goes to the far side for Brady Smith. He's going to dump it in. Battaglia gives chase. Gets it behind the Barrie net. Takes a hit from Passmore. Aitchison comes up with it. He's going to send it down the ice. And that's going to roll all the way into the near corner, and an icing call with 10:04 remaining in this first period.
Brady Smith had a solid game at the Sadlin Arena a couple of weeks ago. Flint went out and acquired him in a trade early in the season. Bit of a change of scenery move, flipping him in exchange for Jeremy Martin, who went to the Sioux. And Smith, a former first-round draft pick, traded by Oshawa last season in the Andrew Gibson deal, and it never really worked out in the Sioux, and getting another chance here on a contending team in Flint.
Yeah, for Smith, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. Not too bad. On a team that's looking to have a deep run, that's going to go down the length of the ice. Another icing call against Barrie. So we'll do this face-off over again as we're now past the midway point of the first period.
You're going to need guys like Brady Smith when it gets later and later into those series. I mean, as great as the top guys are on Flint, as great as the top guys are on Barrie, it doesn't matter if that third and fourth line aren't adding a few goals a series as well.
Face-off one by the Firebirds. Quick shot, stopped by Jaswal. He comes up with it, back to the point, takes the shot wide of the net. At the side of the goal, Aitchison gets a stick on it. He's going to put this one off the boards and out to center. Hemming chips it forward for Bodwin. Bodwin muscles his way in, takes the shot, just misses that far post. Great opportunity there for Cole Bodwin. Now the Firebirds will flip it out to center. Hemming sends it back to the defense. That's Kayshawn Aitchison. Firebird player coming off the bench took it away from Aitchison, and now it's going to go on the bench as Thibodeau and Aitchison being reacquainted there, but nothing more will come of that.
Marvin Jaswal's done a good job here in the first 10.5 minutes of this one. He's been very busy, but he's been able to keep the puck out of the net. Getting to start here today over Ben Horebic, who, if you haven't seen his new goalie patch, you're going to have to find a way to look at those because they're very nice to look at.
Well, I posted the story on my Instagram account, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can see the picture of his retro-looking pads. They are sharp.
Oh, they are.
I'm sure we'll see those in action tomorrow night up in Saginaw.
It better be.
Firebirds get it out to center ice. Kostov couldn't go any further as Edgar will send it in. Puck goes behind the net. Graziano there to collect it here for the Firebirds. Sends this to the near side. Janskis will send this one up the ice. Thibodeau trying to get a stick on it. Delayed offside against the Firebirds. Desiderio. His pass is blocked. Edgar will send it back to Von Richter. Parker Von Richter puts it off the glass out to the neutral zone. Janskis sends this one back to Graziano. Janskis through the neutral zone. He's going to send this one ahead. Thibodeau can't get a stick on it. Justin Hanser. He's going to skate in front of his own net. Wants to carry this one out to center. Ahead for Edgar. He can't get a stick on it. It's deflected, so no icing. Puck goes back behind the Firebirds' net. Graziano. He's just going to do a lap around his own net. Leaves it there as he's going to go off for a change. Dryden L. Allen moves this one up for the Firebirds. Up the middle. Kostov couldn't get a stick on it. Murata chasing after it. Emerton turns it over. Side of the net. Schneid got a stick on it, and that ends up behind the net. Pazzi in a battle in the corner, keeping it away from Elias and trying to get Allen to the back door, but a good heads-up play by Cole Emerton. Emerton gets it in the corner, trying to send this one around. Has it in the corner here as he's battling there with Charlie Murata. Murata throws the hit. Allen at the point, takes the shot. Jaswal got a piece of it, side of the net, scores! Arvin Jaswal tried to make the save, but the puck went out of his glove. And the Firebirds open the scoring. It's 1-0.
Well, Charlie Murata got the first goal the last time these two teams played for Flint, and he gets it again here. The puck in the corner. Emerton trying to go up the boards to Crombie. It's kept in by Allen. Shot from the point is stopped. Murata able to tap it in. Now the big question is, did Murata interfere there with Arvin Jaswal as he came behind them? As Jaswal gets it, it goes up in the air, and then Murata comes diving over top of him to tap that puck in. The Barrie Colts there looking here at their monitors. Patrick Sexton holding his earpiece there, trying to talk to the video coach to figure out if they're going to challenge or not.
Well, Dylan Smoskowitz keeps saying, 1 minute, but I think they're going to just let it go.
Oh.
So the Flint Firebirds open the scoring 1-0 as Murata goes to the net. And it's a 1-0 hockey game. Charlie Murata with his 4th this season. Face-off won by the Firebirds. Podrekar deep in his own zone. Aspinall gets a stick on it. That's going to go deep. Anderson gives chase. Aitchison gets to it first for the Colts. Up to Gardner. Zabeski. Back to Passmore. He's tripped up. That's going to be a penalty. Here's Slander on a breakaway. Slander shot scores! On a delayed penalty, Joe Salandra gets it behind the defense. And just like that, this game's tied at 1.
What a response from the Barrie Colts and one of their American forwards in Joe Salandra. Getting outshot 13-3, down 1-0 in the game, and Salandra, as Passmore gets tripped up, he's able to fight off Lombardi and sneak in behind the D. And like we mentioned in the pregame, the Flint Firebirds, they're very run and gun. They're known for their offense. They're not known for their defense. When the Flint gives you those opportunities in the offensive zone, you got to take advantage of them, and Salandra does there.
Well, great work. Evan Passmore just moving his feet through the neutral zone, saw an opportunity, and then was tripped up. And Joe Salandra found a way behind the defense for his 7th of the season, and it's a brand new hockey game with 7:34 left to go in the first period. So back and forth they go. Puck's in the Flint zone. Janskis will send this one back to Battaglia. Jacob Battaglia. He's going to skate this one forward for Flint. Passes it up. That's sent into the zone. Battaglia gets it himself. Sends it around to Kevin He. He loses it to Zabeski. Battle in the corner. Battaglia to He. Kevin He going around the net. The former Ice Dog with possession. Back to Janskis at the point. Trying to go back to He. In the slot. Takes the shot. Blocked by Aitchison. Puck's loose. They jam at it. Still loose. Aitchison trying to get it out. He across. Janskis shot stopped by Jaswal. Oh my goodness. Arvin Jaswal. He has been under siege, but he keeps it out.
Well, Jaswal's falling all around there after that scrum right out front of the net. He takes the initial shot that's blocked, and then the puck comes down low. Jaswal gets down. Aitchison trying to clear it. It remains in, and then the pass across Nolyansky wide open, but Jaswal just got up to his feet right before that and is able to position himself to make the save.
Right now, shots 15-4 for the Flint Firebirds, as that's going to go on net, and Jaswal's going to hold on. As this Barrie Colts team right now riding the storm, as you're right now playing with fire here against Flint.
Against Firebirds?
You're welcome. I saw the opportunity and I went for it.
I was toast after the garden.
Oh no, this is where we're going, huh? Colts get this one to the blue line and out. It's Emil Hemming at center ice. Hemming enters the zone and delayed penalty here. It's going to be an interference call. And I think it's going against Cole Beaudoin. He was in a battle on the far side. And he's going to be sent off.
Beaudoin was coming through the middle there with a couple of Flint defenders. He looked a bit surprised, but kind of negates a scoring opportunity there for the Colts as Beaudoin goes to the box. Flint getting their second power play opportunity here of the evening, already out shooting the Colts 15-4. And they'll get another chance here to make that power play work.
Yeah, the power play was generating plenty of chances the first time around for the Flint Firebirds when it was a 4-on-3 situation, but Jaswal stood tall. So we'll see what happens this time around. Face-off won by the Firebirds. There's a one-timer. That's going to go wide of the net. Firing that was Aspinall. Puck comes back to the point for Podrekar. Urban Podrekar sends it ahead to He. Back to Podrekar. He's going to ride the blue line. Takes the shot deflected, and Jaswal makes the save as getting a stick on it in front was Jimmy Lombardi.
A good look there for Flint. Lombardi had a goal the last time these two teams played. similar to Nathan Aspinall and a lot of these guys. You know, he's not a first-round pick in the NHL. He's a mid-round draft pick from the LA Kings, but he's doing a really good job this season and upping his stock as his future moves forward.
Face off to the right of Jaswal, won by the Colts. Aitchison's going to send it around his own net. Mason Zabeski's got some space, so he's going to skate it forward. Zabeski through the neutral zone, flips this one deep into the Flint zone. Podrekar first on it. Zabeski putting on the pressure. Puck comes to the point. Kept in by Newton. No, it ends up in the neutral zone. Back to Von Richter. Colts taking time off the Flint Firebirds power play, which is now down to a minute 22. Now they'll send it down the ice. Zabeski again ties up Podrekar. Taking more time off this Flint power play. Firebirds picking up Lombardi. He's got some room. Reaches center ice. Jimmy Lombardi skates this one in. That one ends up in the corner. Gets it himself. Poked away by Passmore. Aitchison simply gets this one down the length of the ice as the penalty to Beaudoin down to just 57 seconds. Both teams are making changes right now. As setting it up will be Ujanskis. Up the middle to Pazzi. We got Pazzi. Skates this one in. Makes an extra move. And that ends up being offside here against Flint.
Well, looking at this Firebirds team and their early NHL status, I mean, Jacob Battaglia was a second-round pick, but everyone else is fourth, fifth-round. Kevin He, Nathan Aspinall, Jimmy Lombardi, fourth-round and fifth-round draft picks. And then you have guys like Podrekar and Alex Kostov, who have been draft eligible in the past, but they haven't been selected yet. And then Olyansky as well, one of their better defenders, as a seventh-round pick.
So right now, just a bit of a delay. As the referee at the timekeeper's bench, I think just want to make sure they got the right time on the clock. So just wait a minute here. Faceoff's going to come outside the Barrie Colts blue line. 5:23 left to go in this first period. Colts shorthanded for another 42 seconds. As it was an interference call against Cole Beaudoin. Colts get this one out to the neutral zone. Picked up by Kostov. Kostov sends it deep for Flint. Ends up behind the net. Passmore's there for Barrie. He's going to send this one around and down the ice. A pretty good penalty kill so far here from the Barrie Colts, as Vicari's going to play it behind his own net. Ujanskis sends this one ahead to Kostov. Kostov on the wing. Gets it down low. Drops it to Battaglia. Ujanskis again at the point. Gives it to Kostov. He'll come off the half board. Takes the quick shot, but Parker Von Richter had a stick in the lane. And that's going to go out of play. So much better job here for the Barrie Colts on this penalty kill.
They were able to kill off the first one, and then minute 49 here, already killed off of this one. It's a tough one last weekend against Brantford. The penalty kill struggled. That Bulldogs power play, I mean, the amount of talent on it, it's pretty hard for any team's penalty kill to do a good job against the Bulldogs, but you gotta or you can't take penalties against them.
Yeah, for the Bulldogs on Sunday, 3 for 4 on the power play as the Firebirds go to the net. They jam at it, but Jaswal, he'll shut the door with 1 second left in the penalty to Beaudoin. As that's been a common theme this period. Just the Firebirds, they'll just crash the net. They're jamming at it, looking for those loose pucks.
Well, they got to be. There's been a couple loose pucks already. I mean, there's 2 or 3 there right in the crease there with Jaswal as he's able to make this save. The puck came loose, but he did have it covered long enough. But there has been a couple pucks right near the goal line there for Flint to kind of tap in, but they haven't been able to capitalize on.
Well, goalies are strange, though. They want to take all the shots.
Yeah, they'll take 80 shots if they have to.
So Beaudoin back on the ice, so it's even strength. And we're going to get a whistle now for a glove-to-head pass with 4:32 remaining in this first period. But for the Barrie Colts, heavily outshot right now, 17-4. Obviously, a couple of power plays there for the Flint Firebirds, but still, what a pace here for Flint.
Yeah, it's been all Flint here in the first period. And well, like you mentioned, they're coming off a loss to Windsor, coming off a loss to Barrie as well a couple of weeks ago. Pretty motivated to get things back going. And for the Barrie Colts here, getting outshot by a ton, but they got to keep themselves in this game. It's still a 1-1 tie at the end of the day. And Mike, you're helping out the timekeepers now, I guess.
Yeah, coming over, showing that Solandra's goal assisted by Passmore and Crombie, I think.
No,
that's not right. Ignore what I'm saying.
Zabeski?
Zabeski.
I know what I'm talking about.
I wasn't prepared for that. I was thrown off.
I didn't know what was going on.
I was thrown off there. I thought something was going wrong. Anyways, we play back underway. Puck goes to the corner, picked up here by Aitchison. The Colts will get it out to center. Allen reaching for it. Hemming sends it in the zone. He's knocked down. Colts want a penalty, but none coming. Firebirds get this one out to the neutral zone. Puck taken away by Wilmot. Wilmot up to Hemming. Hemming on the wing, goes towards Bode. When trying to get a stick. Wilmot's there, kicked aside by Vicari. Firebirds can't get it out. Kept in by Aitchison. Takes the shot from the point. And Vicari is going to make the save as this top line trying to generate some chances, but Vicari standing tall.
Colts, this top line just on a fly. They're able to knock that puck away from Flint, get the turnover, and they come back the other way. Hemming flipping at the boat run, and then Wilmot getting a look as well. It was Ben Wilmot that made it 2-1 for the Colts last time these two teams met up. And that was his fourth game of the year. That was his fourth goal in 4 games with Barrie. And that was a big prove-it game for the Colts. That team coming back from the trade deadline. 3 good games against 3 teams near the bottom of the standings. But then that next week, a big win over Flint.
Face-off one by the Colts. Emerton takes a shot. That's blocked by Heath. Emerton takes another shot. He got a stick on it. Puck goes to the far corner. Jacob Battaglia just sends this one ahead. Gardner got a stick on it. It's in his skates. Colts trying to keep in the offensive end. They will. Now it's sent out by the Firebirds. Kevin Heath through the neutral zone. He'll carry this one in for Flint. Drops it back to Battaglia. Takes the shot. Blocked by Zabeski, and the Colts get it out. Here's Cole Bodwin at center. He's cut off by Heath. Bodwin sends it into the Flint zone. Picking it up here is Graziano. He'll pass this one up. Graziano through the neutral zone. Looked like he was going to give it up. Now goes to Battaglia. Some miscommunication. Colts take it away. Brad Gardner on the wing. Gardner ahead, out of the reach of Salandra. Firebirds get it out to center. Parker Von Richter back to Emerton. Cole Emerton sends it forward. Salandra, yeah, he got that pass inside the zone, so that's going to be offside. Very close as Salandra looking for a second goal of the game.
He was an inch away from another breakaway there. He was really close. I thought at first it was offside, but then took the official a second to make the call, and Salandra, he doesn't seem too frustrated afterwards, but maybe at first, like, hey, you let me get halfway there. Like, at least let me take the shot.
Well, I was like, if they were going to let that go, I was figuring this is going to come back.
This is going to be a review, yeah.
Yeah. Instead, they bring the faceoff all the way back in the Barrie zone, won by the Firebirds. Right at the point. Fans on the shot attempt, drops it to Fellinger. His shot stopped by Jaswal. Von Richter along the boards, can't get a stick on it. Schneid gets it behind his own net. He'll skate this one out. Schneid ahead. Picked up here by Hanser. Trying to send that one in the zone. Hanser gets it into the Flint end, but Fellinger's there to collect it for the Firebirds. 2:38 remaining in the first period. Tied at 1. Loose puck taken away there by Crombie. Crombie taken to the boards by Podrekar. Calvin Crombie along the boards. Passes it across to Von Richter. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will. Deflected just wide of the net. That was Schneid who got a piece of it. Here's Calvin Crombie off the boards. Takes the shot. That's going to go over the net. Near side. Cunningham will put it behind his own net as the Firebirds try to regroup. Crombie just hitting anything in a blue sweater right now. Von Richter gets it ahead. Knocked down by Thibodeau. Thibodeau dropping this one back. Picked up here by Kostov. Kostov loses the handle of it. I think he was preparing for a hit from Bodwin. But now that's going to sail down the ice, and it's an icing call against Barrie with 1:58 to go.
Well, coming up at the first intermission, we got an interview with William Schneid before the game, and talking with him, I'm starting to figure out, like, a lot of these players, these Colts players, they like the long road trips. They prefer the bus trip with the hotel and everything. They prefer that to the bus down, bus back.
The one-and-done trips.
No, they like the team dinners and the hotel stays and getting the bond as a group. They really feel like it's helped them this year.
Well, the Barrie Colts, they came down yesterday. We had to come down today, so good drive for us, though.
It was good.
Yeah, clear roads. It was sunny.
Got through the border, and
yeah,
we didn't have to do any tests this time, and we didn't have to help out with some youngsters this time around. But
yeah, there's a shot from Kostov, stopped by Jaswal. Puck's in the corner. Thibodeau picks it up here for the Firebirds. Along the boards, drops it back to Pazzi. Pazzi tied up there by Bodwin. Puck's in the corner. 1.5 minutes remaining in the first. Pazzi moving it along, ends up behind the Barrie net, battling there with Bodwin. Cole Bodwin trying to dig this one free. Pazzi still on top of it. Loose puck off the skate of Von Richter, and Bodwin digs it out. He'll pass it up to Kayshawn Aitchison. Long stretch pass here for Hemming, but that's out of his reach. He's going to beat out the icing, though. Puts it in front. Colts couldn't get there in time. Taken away by Bodwin. Sends it to an open wing. Aitchison chasing after it. Gets a stick on it. Hemming behind the Flint net. Trying to send this one out in front. Hemming back to the blue line for Kayshawn Aitchison. Near side, Passmore. Passmore with a shot. Stopped by Vicari. Puck's loose. Bodwin stopped by Vicari. What a save. Rebound. And Vicari again makes the save, as that may have been his best save sequence of the night so far.
A couple good looks there for the Colts, as Bodwin probably with the best one. He gets the rebound as Passmore sends it to the net. Vicari makes a save, and then Bodwin tried to go block her side. Vicari able to get out there, and then palms down, slides across, and is there in time, as Hemming not able to get all of that backhander.
Right now, shots 20-7 for Flint. And now the Colts, it feels like they're starting to gain some momentum. We're now down to 46 seconds left in the period. Puck sent down the ice. Won't be enough for icing. Passmore back to pick it up here for Barrie. Back behind his own net. Lombardi takes it away here for the Firebirds, but that pass is blocked, ends up in center ice. Lombardi gets it again here for the Firebirds. Sends this one forward. Loose puck picked up by Zabeski. Zabeski back to Gardner. Gardner, Aitchison winds up. That shot blocked. Ends up in the corner. Gardner trying to put it in front. Went off the heel of his stick. Firebirds move it forward. Lombardi. He's stopped by Gardner. Colts moving up. Aspinall. He can't hold on to it. Lombardi follows it up. Knocked out to center. Padrekar in the neutral zone. 10 seconds left in the period. Puck goes to the far corner. Picked up here by Kayshawn Aitchison. Looks at the clock. And he's just going to take his time and let the clock run out, as it was a very fast-paced first period between these two. And I don't know if we're really surprised by that, considering these are teams at the top of their conferences right now.
No, it's a pretty similar start pace-wise, but for the Barrie Colts, felt like they were maybe a step behind the Flint Firebirds there in that first period. Shots were 20-8 for the Colts.
It's nice that we've got wheelie chairs up here.
I was trying to roll across. But yeah, I mean, shots were 20-8. Not sure that's the start Dylan Smoskowitz was looking for. I mean, he's all right with a 0-0 first period if the Barrie Colts come out of it even in the shots. He'll take a shot total of 6-6 after the first period, but I'm sure he'll take a 1-1 tie as well. Obviously, don't want to give up 20 shots. It's a 60-shot pace, and they did that a couple of weeks ago against the Niagara Ice Dogs, and that's how Niagara got back in that game. They continued to shoot. Eventually, 57 shots. A few of them are bound to go in. This is the second straight game. Cole Bodwin's had to have a long discussion with the officials after the first period due to a penalty he was called on.
Yeah, Bodwin's still at center ice. Everybody else is off the ice. They're heading to the dressing room, but Bodwin still having a conversation there with referee Andre Grogru. But after the opening 20 minutes, the Barrie Colts and the Flint Firebirds tied at 1. And, this Flint Firebirds team, you knew they were going to be hungry coming into this one. They're determined. They want to get back in the win column after losing to Barrie up at the Sadlin Arena, and then, of course, losing to the Windsor Spitfire. So if you're Flash and the coaching staff, you have to be happy with the pace that you set in that first period.
That was a really strong start for Flint, like you mentioned, wanting to get back in the win column. Every game's so big for the Flint Firebirds right now. The Barrie Colts, yeah, obviously they're going after that first place spot in the Eastern Conference, but they at least have it in the back of their heads. Okay, well, we still at least Central Division, we have a pretty big gap. As long as we keep playing our game, keep getting these wins, we're going to be fine. We're going to win the Central Division. Flint, it's not really up to them. They're so tight with Kitchener and Windsor that they could, and the Sioux as well, they could be first tomorrow, and then by next Sunday, they could be in fourth. That's how tight those top four teams are right now in the Western Conference.
And we have noticed there's quite a few Colt fans here at the Dorts, and we're figuring it's likely family of the American players on the Barrie Colts team. And you actually had a chance to catch up with William Schneid pre-game. And for William Schneid, fitting in quite well with the Barrie Colts team. He's got 10 goals so far this season, along with 5 assists. And for Schneid, he's that kind of player that you can lose sight of him out on the ice. He's got a great hockey sense and finds that way to get behind the play.
Yeah, it's kind of out of nowhere. It's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, there's Schneid, and he scores. That's kind of his style. It's been a pretty strong start to the year for William Schneid. He's done a good job. He's not played on all 4 lines this season. He's kind of found that role on the third line, but He had about a month or two stretch there where he was playing with Emil Hemming and Cole Baudouin. I thought he did a pretty good job on that top line.
Yeah, Schneid, a bit of a Swiss Army knife of sorts for this Barrie Colts team. And here's the conversation pregame that Josh McCann had with the Barrie Colts forward.
Well, joined by Colts forward William Schneid. William, you guys got down here yesterday. Are you a big fan of the longer road trips, or do you prefer the smaller, get on the bus, get down, then get back to Barrie after the game?
Yeah, we don't actually go on these long road trips too often, so it's definitely kind of long, but it's fun. Like, we have a good bus ride, play some games on the bus, team bond, team dinner, hanging out in the hotel a little bit. So, it's a good time even with the longer trip.
Does it feel like it's kind of more of an advantage for you guys getting down the day before? You're a bit more rested today?
Yeah, I think it's definitely nicer to come down the day before when you have a longer trip, so we can get the morning skate in, get rest, have our normal routine as if it was a home game almost. So
now you're back in the States. What's that feel like?
Yeah, it's nice for us to get back. 4 Americans now, so it's nice to be here. We all enjoy playing in the U.S., so it'll be fun.
Now, is there anything super different about playing in Canada compared to playing down here in the States?
No, nothing really. It's always nice playing the U.S. teams to get to hear the American national anthem. But other than that, there's not really too much of a difference.
Now, what about the lifestyle? Is there anything that really surprised you when you came to Barrie?
No, I'd say for the most part it's pretty similar. Maybe the amount of snow we're getting this year, right? We're getting pummeled, so that's not too fun.
Now for you guys playing the Flint Firebirds tonight, first time it went well. You had a goal in that game. What do you guys got to do against them tonight?
Yeah, I think, we know what we need to do. Just, we're going to play our game. We had a good, strong week of practice, so we're just going to try to build off that and just play our game and stick to our standard and hope we come out with the same result.
You guys have been ranked top 10 in the CHL the last 2 weeks. Does that mean something to you guys, getting that recognition around the Canadian Hockey League?
Yeah, I think, for us, we try not to let it get to us. We're big on just kind of the model that no one really cares, right? We're going to work harder. So for us, it's just about stacking wins day by day. And, we're just going to try to focus and live in the present.
Now, you've been playing online, Carter Lowe, Joe Slanger. What's it been like? It seems like you guys have had a lot of great scoring opportunities, and slowly but surely those goals are starting to come.
Yeah, both those guys are great players, so just building the chemistry and, hoping that we can finally get a bounce or two. Seems like we haven't been getting them, so.
Now, a couple months ago, American Thanksgiving, you guys were at Dylan Smoscott's house. I know I talked to you a couple games after that at home, and you mentioned about making that dessert there and mentioning maybe in the future you guys would try a couple more meals. Has anything happened since?
Yeah, I know we baked cookies once. Around Christmas, I think. We made them for, morgues and the equipment stuff, so that was a good one. And then we've talked about doing it on a couple other dishes, but we haven't really done anything different besides cookies.
How were the cookies?
They were pretty good.
Well, William, thanks for doing this. Best of luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the first intermission here at the Dordt Financial Center in Flint, Michigan, where the Barrie Colts and Flint Firebirds right now tied at 1 after the opening 20 minutes of play. We do have the chat up and running, so if you want to join the conversation, you can feel free to put your comments down there, anything you want to discuss here on the broadcast. And we do have a full slate of games around the Ontario Hockey League, so let's take a look at that out-of-town scoreboard.
Yeah, 9 other games, which means all 20 teams are in action tonight, including the Owen Sound Attack coming off a big win against the Kitchener Rangers. They're currently tied at 1 at the end of the first period against the Brantford Bulldogs.
Didn't J.C. Coots call them the Kingslayers?
Kingslayers, I think was the phrase he used the other night. He may have to use it again tonight.
Maybe.
Owen Sound in that game tight. Sioux on one of their long road trip of the sea. Oh, no, getting an ad.
Well, you don't need ads.
I closed the ad. Okay. Which is a good segue for if you want to sponsor the broadcast.
Exactly. There you go.
Booth with Mike. Well, look at me go.
Look at your segue.
Sioux on their long road trip over 1,200 kilometers heading to Erie, Brantford, Niagara. Tonight's trip is to Erie. It's the Sioux up 1-0 after the first period. Kitchener up 2-0 on the Windsor Spitfires after the first period in a big matchup there. No score in London as the North Bay Battalion are in town. Ottawa up 2-0 on Peterborough. Sam McHugh's back in the lineup, and he's got a pair of goals. Kingston and Sudbury, a big matchup there for potential seeding down near the bottom of the Eastern Conference and a potential opponent to the Colts in the playoffs. They're tied at 1 after the first period. Oshawa up 2-1 on Niagara. We always talk about Oshawa competing with these teams, and they're doing a pretty good job against Niagara tonight. And then Sarnia-Saginaw tied at 1 after the first period. And Brampton Steelheads as well, up 1-0 on the Guelph Storm.
Yeah, the Brampton Steelheads right now trying to snap, I believe it's a 9 or 8 game losing streak. It's been tough sledding for the Brampton Steelheads. So we'll see if they can turn that around. But we do have the chat up and running, and I just want to thank again, on Sunday we had the donations to the broadcast there for the coffee fund. That went a long way. We do appreciate everyone who's tuning in and being a super there on the broadcast.
You know, we've never stopped at Timmy's before a game, but today we did.
Exactly.
And that has to do with that donation. So,
yeah, it supports the broadcast.
You know, we had a Timmy's deal for ice caps and got our donuts as well. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without those donations.
Yeah, so that was for the super. So you can always put the super comments on there. Your comment will then go to the top of the chat. We can get to whatever it is that you would like to discuss with that super. But again, we want to thank for those tuning in who gave last week in the broadcast. But getting to the chat, I want to get to Brennan, who pointed out that Horebic has some new pads on the bench, and I was able to snap a shot of it in the pregame. And oh my, the retro look that Ben Horebic has. If you can get that on the camera,
it's a bit blurry, but there we go.
Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're brown. If you can't tell on the screen, I know they kind of look a bit red, but yeah, really nice pads for Ben Horebic. The glove and blocker also match as well, and hopefully he's wearing those tomorrow in Saginaw, and he's not just trying these out right now because those are very, very nice.
Yeah, Horebic, he is spot on. Then we've got both Tammy and Liam calling us out on the fries. Of course, we did that fry taste test up at the Bayshore and Owen Sound. They claim that they had the best French fries in the OHL, and we put them to the test. Pre-game here, we had wedges. So does that count as a French fry?
I think that counts, and you know, that's 2 straight media rooms we've actually had wedges in, because last week in Niagara as well, we had the riblets and the wedges, and those were pretty good. And I really like the Flint wedges. I may have gone back for seconds.
You did go for seconds.
On the wedges, and garlic parm bites as well, and a really, really good chicken Caesar wrap as well.
Yeah, we haven't actually heard what the Dordt is known for.
No one's told us.
Yeah, so
we've got some people here that seem to be big fans of yours, so maybe we can ask one of them and figure something out.
We'll have to wait and see, but so the wedges, we had wedges if that counts. And then Bob Dobson, Mike, seriously wearing a Firebird shirt? I didn't clue in that I was wearing orange until I got here, so my apologies. I'm a creature of habit. I've got a system on how I choose what I'm going to wear, and I failed at cluing in that orange and the Firebirds.
I just kind of grab a shirt before the game and go from there.
You know what? And you're not wearing a Firebird orange.
No,
you're winning.
I'm wearing light blue, and they were dark blue, so I don't.
So there's no connection.
There's no connection between me and the Flint Firebirds tonight. may not be able to wear this in Brampton, but
See, that's my problem. I don't think ahead, so I apologize there, Bob Dobson, about not paying attention. I'm gonna have to pay more attention. I know the shirt that I grabbed for tomorrow is not Saginaw Spirit colors.
that's good. I'm wearing a black sweater, so I think we're both
Well, there we
good.
go.
Yeah.
Who knew we'd be talking fashion here on a Colts broadcast?
I got the dark blue dress pants, so that's not good for this weekend.
But anyways, we're about 5.5 minutes away from the start of the second period. The Barrie Colts and Flint Firebirds right now tied at 1 apiece. The Firebirds, though, out shooting the Colts 20-8. And we have seen that in the past for the Barrie Colts on the road, where they kind of get off to those slower starts. And you see in the second and the third period, they start to pick up the pace. And even at the end of that first period, we started to see that, especially with the top line of Baudouin, Hemming, and Wilmot, how they were starting to put pressure there on Vicari.
Yeah, it seemed like that top line started to turn things around, and the second line came out right after that and had another good shift to follow it up. The shots were 20-5 at one point, so Barrie did get the final 3 shots of the first period there, and hopefully they can continue that into the second period.
Yeah, and it's for the Barrie Colts trying to keep pace with both Brantford and Ottawa at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. And today, 5 points separating the Colts from the top teams in the East Division. We saw on the out-of-town scoreboard that Ottawa right now has that lead on the Peterborough Petes, and then Brantford in a tie right now with Owen Sound. So we'll continue to keep an eye on the scoreboard, as we're now in that point where I think we're down to 21 games left in the regular season. So this is where, the games earlier in the season, if points got away from you, that could pose a problem here as we jockey for positioning.
Yeah, this is where the games get so important. You're looking around the league. And we actually get a monitor here in Flint, and so they got the Firebirds' upcoming schedule up there on the screen right now. Back-to-back coming up with the Sarnia Sting before next weekend, a back-to-back with the Sioux and Erie. So that Sioux game going to be huge for Flint, but in between that, that's 3 games against Sarnia and Erie that they have to win. I mean, Sarnia and Erie, they're currently the 2 teams out of the playoffs in the Western Conference right now. So if you're losing those games, teams like Windsor and Kitchener and the Sioux, they're going to take advantage. They're going to gain points, similar to how Kitchener lost the other night to Owen Sound. That's a team you got to beat. And when you don't beat them, teams like Windsor, teams like Flint, teams like the Sioux are going to start gaining ground on you.
Yeah, and when you look at the schedule for the Barrie Colts, so yes, they're doing the Michigan trip this weekend. So Saginaw tomorrow will have the broadcast here on the channel again with the 6:45 live stream getting underway. But next weekend, the Barrie Colts, they do have a 3-3, and it's all Central Division opponents. Yes, the Brampton Steelheads, they look like they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not a threat, but you can't overlook opponents like that, especially when they're in your division and then back-to-back against the North Bay Battalion on the Saturday and Sunday. So 3 tough competitions coming up.
Yeah, and those matchups against North Bay, the first 3 of the season have been really good matchups. They've all been really tight. The first 2 games, 1-goal games, and then that last game as well, a 2-goal game with an empty netter at the end of it. Right now, Barrie's sitting at 66 points, North Bay at 50 with a game in hand. So Barrie, they do have that 16-point gap on the Battalion, but if North Bay is able to peck away at these final 3 games against Barrie, now that gap's down to 10, and as well with that game in hand, they could get it down to 8. Now, yeah, that's still hard to come back from, but if Barrie starts to slip, North Bay starts to go, that's when that Central Division race starts to become pretty interesting. And Brampton, of course, they're getting to desperation time. I mean, they're really struggling as of late. Right now, 6 points back of the Sudbury Wolves for that final playoff spot. So just because Brampton's struggling, those games are just as important for the Steelheads as they go down the stretch. They're up 1-0 today on Guelph, and maybe all it takes is 1 win for that new group to start clicking and get things together. Talking to Nathan Amadowski last weekend in the game against the Brampton Steelheads between the Colts and Brampton, and he told me, it's been a bit of a tough transition for him over the last couple of weeks, but then he added on, a win may help that out. And I'm sure, Brampton, they have a couple new names, Sam Black and as well Carter Hicks. I'm sure guys like that probably feeling the same way. And maybe if they can pick up that win tonight against Guelph, they start to get going and they start getting back in that race.
Yeah, and the Brampton Steelheads also have a home and home coming up with the Oshawa Generals. So the teams that are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. But like you said, if you can get a win and string some points together, you could turn your fortunes around. So you can't really count a team out yet at this point, even though they may look like they're struggling quite a bit. But it's that time of year where Every team can win in this Ontario Hockey League. It's the parity is there, and we'll see what's in store for the Barrie Colts. They get ready now for the second period against the Flint Firebirds.
Yeah, oftentimes with those teams near the bottom of the league, it's really all about who's the hottest team after the trade deadline because they're all so tight. Usually, for the most part, they're losing more than they're winning. So if you get that one team that starts taking off, the Sudbury Wolves over the last little bit, I mean, they've been playing a bit better. JC Lemieux has really taken off since joining Sudbury, and they've started to look a bit better. And it'll be interesting to watch down the stretch. Barrie Colts do have one more meeting with Sudbury at home. They got most of those games out of the way, and then, of course, they still got a couple more at North Bay as well. One more with the Niagara Ice Dogs. It'll be interesting to see down the stretch. We got two more in Brampton as well.
I like how you mentioned how he got all those trips out of the way with Sudbury, and yet there is that off chance that we could see a Barrie Sudbury first round matchup. And then we'd have to go back to Sudbury.
Well, we didn't have to go back after November. And here we go in the playoffs.
So the second period ready to go here from the Dork Financial Center between the Colts and the Firebirds. Right now tied at 1 apiece. Bodwin taking the draw against Jimmy Lombardi. And we are back underway. Face-off won by the Colts. Bodwin trying to send it back. Got a delayed penalty call coming. Here's Hemmings to the net. Takes the shot. Misses. Puck goes to the corner. Aitchison after it. He overskates it. Lombardi will touch it up and will get the call. It's going to be for a high stick. So the Colts, they're going to get their first power play of the hockey game.
That looks like it's going against Dorian Anderson here. For the Colts, a great chance to get the power plays going here. Sanderson heads to the box. Right off the draw there really was that penalty happened right away. And yeah, right there on Wilmot. I think they got the wrong guy though. It was Lombardi, I think, by the looks of that replay, but he's out on the ice right now.
So this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. The Barrie Colts power play right now ranked 4th in the OHL at 24.5%, while the penalty kill for Flint, 3rd best in the OHL at 82.3%. And right now it's the Firebirds quickly getting this puck down the length of the ice. Parker Von Richter back to collect it here for the Colts. Von Richter reaches center. He's got Lombardi behind him. He'll find Hemming. Emil Hemming goes to Bodwin. Bodwin to Salandra. Salandra, stick handling there to the corner. Bodwin trying to send it around. Bodwin's taken down. Firebirds get it out. Kevin He, though, he's got a step on it. Shorthanded breakaway for He. Takes the shot. That goes wide of the net. Fires it back, but Jaswal makes the save. Kevin He, always a threat. Shorthanded. We saw that quite often when he was a member of the Niagara Ice Dogs.
It's only goal this year against Barrie was shorthanded.
Puck sent down the ice. Kevin He drops it back to Kostov. Kostov in the corner. Taking more time off this Barrie power play, which is down to 52 seconds. Kostov around the Colts net. Still with it. Trying to cut to the middle. Takes the shot. Jaswal the save. He decides to play it. Parker Von Richter behind the net. He's going to send this one down the length of the ice, but Gardner got a stick on it, and that's going to go out of play.
A bit of a different look here for the Barrie power play is Parker Von Richter up on the top unit with Kayshawn Aitchison and Cole Emerton now getting a chance to run the second unit alongside Wilmot, Gardner, Crombie, and Zabeski.
Ben Wilmot's going to take the face-off here against Christopher Thibodeau. Face-off won cleanly by the Colts. Emerton back in his own zone. He's got some space. Moves it up to center. Drops it back to Crombie. Calvin Crombie picks up momentum. Carries this into the Flint zone. Knocked off his stick. Gardner back to Crombie. Puck's rolling on him, and the Firebirds get it out. That's knocked down with a high stick. That's going to roll back into the Barrie zone, and we'll get the whistle as Cole Emerton comes back to play it, and there's just 17 seconds left in the man advantage.
Now Wilmot hit it with the high stick, and then with Thibodeau chasing Emerton there, and not really much of a choice for Cole Emerton but to touch it afterwards. Obviously, Wilmot did have to get the first touch if they want to play to continue, so face-off comes in the Barrie zone.
Face-off won by the Colts. Emerton skates it ahead here for Barrie. Emerton through the neutral zone, weaving his way through. Gets it into the attacking zone around Allen. Emerton hits the brakes. Power play about to expire. Zabeski sends it back to Gardner. The power play's come to an end. Wilmot has it at the point. Over to Emerton. Emerton takes the shot. That's blocked. And the Firebirds regain possession, and they'll get this one across the ice. and not out. Kept in there by Gardner. Zabeski trying to get a stick on it. He's tied up by Colosimo. Puck's in the corner. Crombie trying to knock it free. It's sent in front. No one there for the Colts. Eliason backhand towards the net. Ends up going wide. Ends up in the corner. Picked up by Graziano. Graziano's pass picked off in the center ice. Crombie with it now for Barrie. Gives it to Gardner. Gardner, though, can't hold on to that. Graziano sends it across. Allen gets this one down the ice at the blue line. Picked up by Colosimo. Takes a shot. Score! Right under the bar, Josh Colosimo. And the Flint Firebirds have regained the lead.
A nice shot there by Colosimo. And Flint getting set up with the 2-on-1 opportunity there. Pass for Pitts. Thibodeau to the boards by the Flint bench. And then Anderson comes in, leaving Eliason all alone to defend the two Firebirds. There, Colosimo doesn't decide to pass it to Anderson and takes the shot himself and gives the Firebirds the lead back.
For Josh Colosimo, that's just his 4th goal of the season, and he wired that one under the crossbar. We're about 3 minutes now into the second period, and the Flint Firebirds back on top in this one. Passmore sends it up. Schneid got a stick on it. No, they're going to say he missed it, so that's going to be an icing call against the Colts, and they're going to bring it back.
Off the start to the second, the Colts were looking for getting outshot 3-0 here in the second period, allowing an early goal to Flint as well. And not a lot going on that power play either for Barrie.
Face-off coming to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Battaglia taking the draw against Schneid. Face-off, won by the Colts. Passmore sends it behind the net to Eliason. Up to Carter Lowe. He's going to chip this one forward. Schneid reaching for it. Uzanska's got a stick on it. Colts send it deep. Bouncing off the end boards. Carter Lowe is there for Barrie. Puts it in front, but Ulanskis, he's able to come up with it here for Flint. Ulanskis will take his time behind the net. Now the Firebirds moving up at the wing. Tipped into the zone there by Smith, so no icing. Aitchison, he'll send this one around. Jaden Newton gets a stick on it, takes a hit. Schneid follows it up. He's going to send it into the zone. Bellinger there to play it. Takes a hit there from Lowe. Around the boards it goes. Picked up again by the Firebirds. Smith, his pass picked off, but that's now a delayed offside. We get the whistle, and they'll bring this face-off outside the Flint blue line.
Colts trying to get back going here. Still a lot of time to get this game figured out, but Flint, they've kind of carried over that pace they had in the first period to the second period here, and Colts have had some trouble with it.
Face-off won by the Firebirds as Naziano will send that one across. Near side. Lombardi knocks that one deep into the Barrie zone. Aitchison behind the net. Von Richter. He'll send this one ahead. At center, here's Emil Hemming. Hemming dumps this one in for the Colts. Puck goes behind the Firebirds net. They're going to send this one around. Firebirds get this one out to the neutral zone. Chasing after it is Aspinall. Aspinall trying to go to the net. Stopped by Von Richter. Forced around the goal. Aitchison can't get a stick on it. Anderson trying to scoop it up. That's sent to the boards. Colts move this one up. It's Emil Hemming at center to Beaudoin. 3-on-2 here for the Colts. Beaudoin to Wilmot. Wilmot fires, and that's blocked there by Graziano. Wilmot gets it again in the corner, trying to send it around. He collides into Anderson. Beaudoin behind in the corner. Goes behind the net. Lombardi diving for it. Beaudoin stays with possession. Off the boards. Cole Beaudoin cuts to the middle. Looking over his shoulder, drops it to Hanser. Justin Hanser takes the shot, and that blocks. It hits someone in front. Firebirds get this one out and down the ice. Cole Emerton back to pick it up for Barrie. Here's Justin Hanser. Hanser chips this one forward. Edgar sends this one deep. Ondrejkar back to play it for the Firebirds. He's going to send this one around. That escapes the zone. Eamon Edgar back to Hanser. Justin Hanser's pass is deflected. It's going to go back into the Firebird zone. 14:40 still to go in this second period. There's a turnover. Jaden Newton up to Desiderio, but that's out of his reach. Firebirds get it out. Reaching for it is Kostov. He's forced back. Far side. Pazzi. Pazzi to the net. Takes the shot. Jaswell got a piece of it. Puck's at the side of the net. Picked up by Newton. Jaden Newton behind his own net. Chased out there by Thibodeau. Jaden Newton. Backhand pass to Hanser. Hanser through center. Ahead for Edgar. Drops it there for Newton. Jaden Newton takes the shot. Thibodeau was in the way. Puck's in the corner. Colts after it. Podrekar can't get it out. He's knocked down by Newton. Picked up by Edgar. Edgar, he's tied up. Kostov was in the way. They battle along the far boards. Eamon Edgar gets possession of into the corner. Podrekar takes him in the corner. Edgar, though, stays with it. Passes it back to Eliasson. Thibodeau is in the way. Zabeski can't get a stick on it. Puck's in front. Eliasson with possession at the point. Goes to Von Richter. Takes the shot. Podrekar blocks that one. Zabeski, backhand pass to Eliasson. He'll keep this one in. Colts with momentum right now, but Zabeski's pass ends up out at center. Colts with it. Von Richter from his own blue line trying to set up Zabeski, but that doesn't connect. And that's an icing call against the Colts with 13 and a half minutes still to go.
Barrie's still looking for their first shot here of the second period. And great look there by Ignat Potsy, getting that puck on his stick at the blue line and spins into the zone for a good look. And what we talked about earlier, this Firebirds team, they're able to just create offense out of nowhere. And it doesn't take long for them to get into a zone and create those chances.
Well, the Flint Firebirds just continue to pour it on like we saw at the first period. Shots now 23-8 in favor of Flint. So the home side keeping Arvin Jaswal busy here this evening. And with that icing, this faceoff's going to come back. We'll get it to the right of Jaswal and get play back underway.
Looking at the highlights on the OHL website, Sam McHugh hit the Michigan.
In Ottawa.
Wow.
And that's not even in Michigan because we're in Michigan.
Oh, we're in Michigan.
This is the only game in the OHL in Michigan tonight because Saginaw's in Sarnia. Colts get this one down the ice. Won't be enough for icing as Allen's going to come back to pick it up for the Firebirds. Drops it there. At the blue line, kept in Eliasson. His shot goes off Zabeski, ends up in the corner. Puck sent around the boards. Von Richter's there to keep it in play. Battle along the boards, and the Firebirds get it out. Puck goes deep into the Barrie zone. Eliasson looking over his shoulder. He'll send it off the end boards. Von Richter picks it up on the far side, flips this one out to center. Fellinger there to collect it for Flint. He's going to drop it back for Allen. Allen sends it to the very end. This goes back and forth. Zabeski at center. He'll dump this one in right on net. Vicari will play it. Gives it to Allen. Allen nearly gave that one up to Salandra. Puck's in the corner. Firebirds get to the line. Kept in by Hanser. Puck sent to the corner. Fellinger out after it here for Flint. He's going to send this one around. Crombie off the bench to play it. Firebirds with possession. They're going to get this one out. That's Dryden Allen. Allen reaches the neutral zone. He's going to dump it in. Firebirds right now making a line change. Cole Emerton back to play it for the Colts. Emerton passes this one up to Crombie. Back to Emerton. Cole Emerton reaches center. He's going to send this one deep into the corner. Back to pick it up is Graziano. He'll leave it there for Thibodeau. Flint trying to get this one out. Out to center. Smith got a stick on it. No icing. Cole Emerton has to come back to play it for the Colts. Emerton quickly ahead for Crombie. Calvin Crombie through center. He's got Kevin He on his back. Sends this one deep. Schneid gives chase. Schneid after it. Zanskis can't get a stick on it. Colts are trying to set up Aitchison, who's coming off the bench, but it goes all the way back behind the Barrie net. Kayshawn Aitchison doesn't get time to set up. He was chased out by Smith. Aitchison skates into the offensive end. Takes the shot over the net. Looked like Vicari was trying to use his head on that one. Puck's in the corner. Kamidowski sends that one back. Firebirds move it forward. George Kamidowski skates this one in for Flint. That's going to go into the corner. Passmore's there to play it. Over to Aitchison. Aitchison facing pressure. Taken away by Battaglia into the slot. Anderson's there. Can't shoot it. Flint still with it. Over the net by Kevin He. And that's going to go out of play as things have kind of settled down a bit from what we saw in the first period.
Barrie getting a couple chances there. And Aitchison looked like he was wide open coming off the bench there. If the Colts were able to get it to him, he would have had a lane to drive the net. But comes back, brings it into the zone, and kind of caught Vicari off guard. Had two defenders on him. Still floats the shot to the net, but it just goes over top.
So face off to the right of Jaswal. Beaudoin's going to take the draw here against Lombardi. Beaudoin actually going to be tossed out. He doesn't like that. So in steps Emil Hemming. Hemming versus Lombardi. Hemming ends up on top of the puck, sends it up to Beaudoin. Bodwin through center. He's trying to muscle his way through the center ice area. That's going to end up back behind the Flint net. Along the boards, Passmore. Behind, here's Ben Wilmot. Back to the blue line. Shot from the point. That's deflected over the net. Cole Bodwin got a stick on it. Trying to go back to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison to Bodwin. He steps on the puck. Bodwin in front. Shot stop. Rebound. And Colts can't get to it. Puck sent to the point, but not out. Kept in here by Passmore. Sends it behind the net for Wilmot. Ben Wilmot in front to Hemming. But that pass was blocked by Allen. Wilmot back to the line. Passmore gets a stick on it. Keeps this one in play. Puck goes behind the net. Picked up by Lombardi. Jimmy Lombardi. His pass up to Anderson. Anderson takes a bump from Hemming. Cole Bodwin has it in the corner. He's tied up there by Fellinger. Loose puck. Wilmot. His pass taken away. Lombardi has it now, and the Firebirds get it out to center. That pass deflected by Eliasson. Anderson and Eliasson, they collide. Gabriel Eliasson will take it back behind his own net to Aitchison. Ben Wilmot through the neutral zone. Weaving around Kostov, still with it. The former London Knight goes to Jaden Newton. Takes the shot. That goes over the net. Off the point, Von Richter. Down to Wilmot. Takes the shot. That's blocked. Thibodeau is going to skate it out. Lost the handle of it. Von Richter couldn't steal it. Kostov skates this one up for the Firebirds. Toe drag. Shot stopped by Jaswell. Rebound. Stopped again by the Colts netminder. Von Richter able to get this one out. Podrekar at center. He'll pass this one up to Thibodeau. He falls. Von Richter with it. Up to Desiderio. That pass doesn't connect. That's going to go down the ice, and it's an icing call against the Barrie Colts. And interesting, every time there's a high shot, almost looks like Vakari wants to headbutt the puck.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he's trying to jump up and do something about it. He is 5'11", so he's a bit on the shorter side for a netminder, so that may have something to do with it. Couple good chances there on both sides. Thibodeau getting a look there for Flint, but Eliasson was trying to defend up to the net, but he's able to get that shot off. Good look there on Jaswell off the rebound.
Face off to the left of Jaswell. 9:25 left to go in the second period. Rosanio ahead to Thibodeau. That's taken away by Eliasson. Eliasson sends that one off the end boards. Back to play it is Edgar. Edgar gets to the line. Not out. Kept in there by the Firebirds. Von Richter able to pick it up for the Colts. Gabriel Eliasson in front of his own net, facing pressure there from Kostov. Goes to Von Richter. Parker Von Richter through the neutral zone. He'll dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Edgar gets a stick on it here for the Colts. Thibodeau reaching for it. Ends up behind the Flint net. Collecting it now is Jojanskis. Jojanskis gives this one up. Graziano to Kostov. Gardner got a piece of it. Graziano ends up back behind his own net. Graziano, he's going to leave it there. Firebirds with possession. Skating this one up. That's Pazzi makes a nice move. Pazzi trying to carry it in. He's stopped there by Aitchison. Knocked down. That's going to be a penalty against the Barrie Colts. Kayshawn Aitchison being called for the trip.
Aitchison gave Potsy a bit of a chop there as he was gliding by. Potsy went down. Aitchison doesn't look to be too big of a fan of the call, but the Firebirds going to get another power play here. Power play struggled as of late, as talked about earlier. Is getting another look here. Potsy coming up the wing. Aitchison in front of him tries to work around them and then gives him a shot there, kind of on the knee, and Potsy goes down.
So that's going to be the third power play of the night for the Flint Firebirds. The penalty kill did a pretty good job on the second time around there for the Barrie Colts. We'll see what's in store this time.
Well, first time they killed it off, but Arvin Jaswell was peppered with shots.
Colts get this one out. Delayed offside against the Firebirds. Bodwin there to pick it up, taking time off this Flint Firebirds power play. Goes back to Justin Hanser. Hanser sends this one down the ice. It goes off Podrekar, ends up behind the Flint net. Podrekar sending this one around to Aspinall. Aspinall's pass blocked by Hemming. Hemming's just going to put it to an open wing. Power play now down to a minute 33 here for the Firebirds. They've been in their own zone for most of it. Jimmy Lombardi enters the zone, sends this one around. Kevin Heat got a skate on it, ends up behind the Barrie net, picked up by Von Richter. Von Richter gets this one out and down the ice with a little help from Carter Lowe. Kari out of his net. We'll leave it there. 1:10 now remaining in the penalty to Kayshawn Aitchison. Podrekar skates this one in himself for Flint. Podrekar sends this one around. Aspinall at the point. Sends it up to Lombardi from the half boards. Jimmy Lombardi back to Aspinall. Aspinall waits, fires, stop, rebound, side of the net. They jam at it. Jaswal makes another save, and he's able to pounce on that as he had both Thibodeau and Lombardi working around that net, trying to get a stick on it.
A good look there by Nathan Aspinall, who was able to get the initial shot on net on Jaswal. The puck went high up into the air, but Lombardi came around trying to get a tap in. Jaswal was able to slide across and make the save, and was able to cover it before him and Thibodeau could get back to the net.
So face off to the left of Jaswal. Zabeski taking the face off, won by the Firebirds. Janskis up to Pazzi. Pazzi turning this one around, trying to give himself some room. Down low, Battaglia behind the Barrie net. He'll send this one back to Kostov. Zanskis at the point. Back to Kostov. Kostov across. That pass is deflected by Eliasson. Pazzi was sitting behind in that corner. Zanskis up the middle. Goes to Kostov. One-timer blocked by Von Richter. Von Richter, that one stung. He's hobbling. Firebirds with it. Pazzi fires, and that's going to go wide of the net and out of play with 19 seconds remaining. But what a block by Parker Von Richter.
Yeah, big one there from Von Richter, and paid the price, though, as he's hobbling off. Staying on the bench, though, as of right now, so it looks like he'll be able to probably gut this one out. He made a nice block there, and then off the rebound, Jaswal was able to make the nice save.
So face off to the left of Jaswal. Kostov wins the face off. We're going to do this one again, as it wasn't done cleanly. 16 seconds left in the penalty to Aitchison. Kostov will take the draw against Beaudoin. Kostov now skating out. Looks like they want to make sure they got the right time on the clock. So the officials right now talking to the timekeeper. Got 6:50 remaining here in the second period. Yeah, they're going to add 3 seconds. So 19 seconds left in the penalty to Aitchison.
Second time tonight we've seen that.
They're making the timekeeper work here tonight. Colts win the face-off, and they're just going to hammer this one down the ice. Vicari had to make the save, as that was right down the middle. Janskis will skate this one up for Flint. Carrying it into the zone, drops it back to Kostov. Kostov on the far side, ends up in the corner. Round the Barrie net, Kostov has it taken away there by Hemming. The power play has expired. Evan Passmore behind his own net. Takes a weird bounce off the board. Colts defenseman able to get this one down the ice. Picked up by Allen at his own blue line. Ahead for Kostov. Gives it to Thibodeau. Thibodeau takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. Loose puck picked up by Beaudoin. Beaudoin's going to flip this one down the ice. Chasing after it is Wilmot, trying to beat out the icing. Icing waved off. Good effort there by Ben Wilmot. Colts able to make a line change here. Beaudoin intercepts the pass. Along the boards, Cole Beaudoin drops it back. Here's Emerton. Emerton toe drag, takes the shot, stopped by Vicari. Loose puck picked up by the Firebirds. They can't get it out. Now they will. It's Kostov at center. They'll give that one up. Battaglia along the boards. Towards the net, blocked there by Aitchison. Kostov gets it again here for Flint. Tied up there by Emerton. Kostov, he's been out there quite a while right now for Flint. Working his way along the boards. Comes back to the point. Gets around Hemming. Takes the shot. Blocked by Emerton. Murata after it now for Flint. He opened the scoring here tonight. Goes back to Komodowski. That's wide of the net. Battaglia gets it behind the Colts net. Won't carry this one around. Back to the blue line. Near side, Komodowski. His shot blocked by Wilmot. Firebirds get it again. Komodowski at the point. Breaks the stick of Wilmot. Colts trying to get it out. Aitchison can't get it by Murata. Beaudoin blocks the pass attempt. He's just going to relieve the pressure. And that's going to be icing against the Barrie Colts. And they're going to bring this one back. As we've seen like quite a bit here tonight where the Barrie Colts are just hemmed in their own zone and forced to ice the puck.
That's what I was going to say. It's that shift there by Flint, they dominate the very top line. It's not often you see those guys stuck in the defensive zone, but that's what happened there. Some great opportunities there for the Firebirds, doing a good job working that puck around and tiring out the Colts top line.
Yeah, just something we don't usually see from the Barrie Colts, but you know, give credit to this Flint Firebirds team. Right now, out shooting the Colts 29-12. As Flint right now playing some desperate hockey here against the Colts.
They've done a good job tonight. Gary, I mean, Mason Vicari's pretty strong goaltender, .913 save percentage, so they're They're going to have to get some more shots on net and start challenging him if they're going to want to get back in this game.
So the two sides getting ready to resume play after the TV timeout. Cole Beaudoin out there to take the faceoff once again here for the Barrie Colts up against Jimmy Lombardi. Faceoff will be to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Faceoff one by the Colts. It rolled through the blue paint. Colts get to it. They'll send it forward. Here's Cole Beaudoin. He's got space. Through center, the Utah Mammoth prospect trying to get around Uzanskis. In front, knocked away there by Graziano. At the point, Wilmot takes the shot, blocked in front by Uzanskis. And the Firebirds get this one out. Blocked at center by Wilmot. Ahead for Gardner. Here's Brad Gardner on the wing. In front, pass is deflected. Hemming couldn't get to it in time. Colts are right now in the middle of a line change. Aitchison got a stick on it. Anderson trying to force it in. Delayed offside against Flint. Hanser up the wing. Sebeski tried to get a stick on it. Salandra beats out the icing call. Leaves it for Gardner. Gardner from the corner in front. Sebeski's there. He jams at it. Akari sprawls. And he's able to cover it up. But Mason Sebeski ends up on top. This is going to create a crowd. Sebeski looking like he's tying up one of the Flint players. That's Luca Graziano. As those two continue to tussle in front of Akari. Neither one of them has dropped the gloves. As cooler heads will prevail, but obviously we're going to get a couple of penalties out of this.
Well, Salandra went after a couple of Flint players as well. Looks like just Graziano and Sebeski going to the box. I guess because they kept the gloves on, it'll only be roughing, not fighting. But it looked like the officials tried to let them go, but then they kept the gloves on, and Sebeski took another shot at Graziano. There's a two, get after it right out in front. Salandra and Gardner going after Aspinall. The official getting in between Graziano and Sebeski, and then eventually, okay, just go. But then the two of them, they keep the gloves on, and Sebeski gives them a shot to the face, at which point the two of them get collided up. And Vacation on Aitchison looking for an explanation. I wonder if they both got two for roughing, but Sebeski got the extra one after that last shot.
Well, right now, it's just Sebeski's number that's on the board for the penalty. So it looks like it may be a Flint Firebirds power play out of this. Right now, Dylan Smoskowitz having a conversation with the official. And, yeah, 5 players out on the ice here for the Flint Firebirds. So now the Barrie Colts are going to be shorthanded once again.
What's those discipline issues at some points that we talk about? I mean, you take that extra shot there, now you give a really good group in the Flint Firebirds a chance on the power play here to add to the lead. And you know, a similar situation last week, and a couple of penalties by Barrie, and all of a sudden it's 1-0 for Brantford, and you're trailing in that game.
So right now, the Colts have to send someone to the penalty box. It's going to be Eamon Edgar.
It's always poor Edgar.
I know.
He got a break when Cementsoft was in the lineup, but for the most part, it's Edgar.
Edgar is usually the go-to to serve those penalties. So this is now the 4th power play of the night for the Flint Firebirds. They're right now 0 for 3. Face off to the left of Jaswal. Kostov's going to take the draw here against Cole Beaudoin. I feel like Beaudoin's been out there this whole second period. Face off one by Flint. Uzanskis has it at the point. Down low to Pazzi. Pazzi, Uzanskis, he's going to ride the blue line across to Kostov, doesn't take the shot. That's blocked by Hemmick. Kept in the zone here for the Firebirds, rolls in front. Good work there by Von Richter, and he gets this one down the ice. 1:38 still to go in the power play for the Firebirds. Uzanskis ahead for Thibodeau. Thibodeau skates this one in for Flint, ends up in the corner. He's going to send it around. Kostov waits for it. Kostov keeps it away from low. Down to the corner to Thibodeau. Christopher Thibodeau back to Kostov. That pass gets the line not out. Kept in. Pazzi fans on the pass attempt. And the Barrie Colts take advantage, and they're just going to dump it down the ice. Akari waiting at the side of his net as both teams make changes. 1:10 remaining in the penalty to Mason Sebeski. Audrekar will pass this one ahead. Kevin Heath through the neutral zone, taken away by Crombie, and he's just going to put it right back to where it started. Akari sets up again behind his own net, leaves it for Audrekar. Audrekar gets to the blue line, drops this one back to Aspinall. Nathan Aspinall carrying this one in for Flint. Gives it up to He. He across. That pass deflected. Good stick work there by Wilmot, and he'll get it out. Aspinall back at his own blue line, sets one across. Padrekar, his pass finds Lombardi, settles it down. Eliason trying to take him into the boards. Puck's in the corner. Picked up here by the Firebirds. Aspinall stopped by Jaswal as he was left alone in front. There were 3 Colt players down below the line, but Aspinall, he's denied.
Not a guy you want to leave alone. The leading point getter in the OHL, but you have Passmore and Eliason down in the corner, and then puck comes out front for Aspinall, gets that one-timer off, but Jaswal right on top of that one to make the save.
Well, I've been kind of surprised how quiet Nathan Aspinall's been here tonight.
It was kind of similar to the last time these two teams met. He didn't really stand out as much as you kind of expected him to.
Face off won by the Firebirds. Lombardi takes it down low behind the Barrie net. Passes one back to He. Kevin He along the half boards, gets to the corner, back to the blue line. Padrekar. Aspinall, one-timer blocked by Emerton. But Aspinall gets it again, back to Padrekar. Padrekar towards the net. Loose puck, shot, scores! Kevin He! There is traffic in front, and Kevin He takes advantage. And it's now 3-1 Flint.
Well, it took a while, but on the 4th power play of the night, the Firebirds able to capitalize with a familiar face for the Barrie Colts and Kevin He getting the goal. Padrekar works his way through a pair of defenders there in Bodwin and Hemming, then slides it across to He, who's able to find the back of the net over top of Arvin Jaswal. And one thing about Kevin He is after a goal, he loves to pump up the crowd and start celebrating.
He brings the intensity, and now that's 20 goals on the season for Kevin He. And penalties prove to be an issue again here for the Barrie Colts as the Flint Firebirds score on their 4th power play of the night. 2:12 still to go in the second. Face-off at center. Face-off won by the Firebirds. They'll set things up. Backtracking is Allen. That pass is deflected down the ice. And that's an icing call now against Flint. So the pressure building right now against the Barrie Colts as they're now being outshot 31-13 and are now down by 2.
It feels like for every rush Perry gets, Flint gets 2 or 3 straight minutes of domination on Barrie right now. And obviously that goal, a tough one. Give up the power play goal late, power play there, and now 2-goal lead. Got to get back going.
That shot goes into a crowd. Firebirds move this one up. Skating through center, Colosimo. He'll pass this one up, but that's going to be offside against the Firebirds. So we'll do this face-off again outside the Barrie blue line.
Barrie as well now, like you mentioned, 31 shots against. Not what you want to see. Allowed 20 in the first, now already 11 here in the second period. And got to limit those shots against a team like Flint or else they're going to take advantage.
This is a high-flying Firebirds team. They love to get chances off the rush. And when you give them that open ice in the power plays, eventually they're going to burn you. And that's what we saw there on that 4th power play. As we're going to do this face-off again. We're getting some pushing and shoving as well. Looks like Joe Salandra mixing it up.
Well, they were doing that on the opening draw as well after the goal.
They're getting feisty over there. So Gardner will take the draw against Colosimo. Face-off won by the Colts. Cunningham tied up by Salandra as those two have been battling. Along the boards, Colts trying to move it along. Salandra is there. In a battle with Cunningham still. Continue to jam at each other. Bellinger skates this one in for Flint. Gets to the corner in front. Pass is blocked. Loose puck picked up here by Cunningham. He's going to send this one around. And then Hanser runs over Allen on the far side. Bellinger trying to keep it in. Goes off Brad Gardner. He can't hold on to it. Firebirds get it again. Murata at center ice. They'll skate this one in for Flint. Here's Cunningham. His shot. Didn't get all that. Cunningham gets it again around the Barrie net. Bumped there by Hanser. Hanser takes it away. Justin Hanser behind his own net. They'll pass this one up to Brad Gardner. Gardner flips this one up and down the ice. Salandra gets a stick on it, but it's taken away by He. Kevin He. He's got space. Gates through center. He's going to dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Hands are after it here for the Colts. Takes a hit from He. We're in the final minute of the second period. 3-1 for the Flint Firebirds. They keep this one in play. There's the shot by Ujanskas, but that goes wide of the net. Kostov keeps it at the point. Schneid reaching, but Ujanskas was going off for a change. The puck was just sitting there. Colts get it out. Firebirds trying to carry this one in. Battaglia has that one roll on him. Kostov falling awkwardly in the boards. He had Desiderio on top of him. Colts move it up. 15 seconds left in the period. Schneid sends this one deep. Graziano, first one on it for Flint. He's going to send it around. Battaglia chips it back. Desiderio keeps this one down low. 4 seconds remaining. Schneid looking at the net. Decides to pass it. Crombie to Eliasson, but that will do it for the second period. As we get some pushing and shoving after the fact, Jacob Battaglia mixing it up, but you can tell some frustrations building here for this Barrie Colts team as we don't oftentimes see them down by 2.
That's rare. It's especially been rare over the last little while. Good job by Eliasson there. Alex Kostov came over and kind of gave him a hug from behind, like he was trying to bait him into a penalty. But Eliasson keeping his hands to himself there, not getting baited into one there. And that's been a tough 2 periods so far for the Barrie Colts. I mean, their only goal, a breakaway that the Firebirds gave up. But outside of that, Flint has shut them down in their own zone. And from there as well, they've had a really good job on the offensive side of things.
Well, it says a lot. Shots 31-13 right now for the Flint Firebirds, as the Colts at times have been just hemmed in their own zone. And we even mentioned that during that second period, the top line, Bodwin, Hemming, and Wilmot, they're having difficulties moving it up the ice. So this Flint Firebirds team doing a great job right now shutting things down in the neutral zone.
Yeah, usually when the Bodwin line's out there, they're creating chances in the offensive zone, moving the puck around beautifully. The only time we've really seen that is once in the second period there. But for the most part, Flint's done a good job shutting down that top line. And when those guys aren't going, you're already in for a pretty tough time. But Flint's done a good job shutting down pretty much most of this Barrie Colts offense tonight.
And even though it is a 3-1 hockey game, give credit to Arvin Jaswal. There's been a couple of times there where I'm not sure how he kept the puck out. Obviously, he had some help in the first period there from Jaden Newton. But this Firebirds team, once they get that puck around the net, they are just swarming, and they're looking for those loose pucks. And we've had, seen Draswell a few times there scrambling in his own crease just to keep that puck out.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 opportunities over the last 2 periods that easily could have gone in the net. Jaswell's been able to stop them. He's done a really good job. And I mean, Flint, just once they get that puck in the zone, they really work it around well, and they create those opportunities.
So the Barrie Colts right now find themselves in a hole, down 3-1 after 40 minutes. So the Colts will have to dig deep here to try and get back into this hockey game. So here at the second intermission, we're going to take a break and join Terry Doyle with the OHL news. And when we return, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and we will once again open things up on the chat.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of OHL News. Coming up on the show, we'll get an update with what's happening with the Flint Firebirds, sitting right there among the top teams in the Western Conference. That's coming up in a moment, but first, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week is Jake O'Brien of the Brantford Bulldogs, capturing the award for the second time this season. In 3 games last week, he had 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 points for the Bulldogs. The 18-year-old who hails from Toronto was a first-round pick, 8th overall by the Seattle Kraken in the 2025 National Hockey League entry draft. Meantime, the Flint Firebirds are battling for top spot in the OHL Western Conference coming into this weekend's play. Brian Gardner is the voice of the Firebirds, and we caught up this week to get an update on what's happening in mid-Michigan.
Well, Brian, let's go back. It seems like there was a point in the fall where the Flint Firebirds, just their game really seemed to take off. And obviously that extended winning streak that happened, you're with them day in and day out, every game, home and road. What jumps out to you where there was a point in the fall, it seemed like, where things really took off for the Firebirds?
So it was in early October. I'd say, Terry, it's kind of started when it was right after a loss to Sarnia. And then after that, there were back-to-back shutouts where they blanked the Oshawa Generals and the Kitchener Rangers like 3 days apart. And that kind of got them going. Like, it seems like that they had finally kind of put together what the coaching staff was asking of them in terms of their buy-in and the way that they kind of approached every single game, every single shift. And not long after that was that extended winning streak that you were talking about, where it was maybe there was one blip in between those back-to-back shutouts in early October and then just going off on that run. But yeah, from that point on, this team has kind of been rolling. And even when they don't absolutely play their best on any given night, they're still right in every game with a chance to win. And we've seen the floor raise, we've seen the expectations raise, and we've seen them go out and add at the trade deadline. And now suddenly you've got a team that sits here around the top of the Western Conference looking like legitimate contenders and a team that you don't really want to see coming down the stretch.
Does it feel like now the Firebirds have positioned themselves that, they can play that 2-1 game? You mentioned those shutouts, or if necessary, if it's going to be a 5-4, 6-5 game, so be it. They've set themselves up. Maybe the coaching staff doesn't want those 6-5 games, but they have the firepower to do it, but also can play that structured game in their own end if necessary.
Yeah, it's funny because, of course, like you and I and fans, we really enjoy those high-scoring 6-5 fly up and down games where there's turnovers and breakaways galore, odd man rush one way, going right back the other way. But yeah, that's absolutely not what they want to do. But the Birds definitely have the horses for that. I mean, you look at kind of the way that the forward group is situated. You've got three lines that really could be a top line for a lot of teams in the league, where after they go out and pick up a Kevin He and a Jacob Battaglia, he is absolutely taken off. Battaglia has been good, but we haven't seen him at quite his full powers yet, I would say. And, the glimpses of it. And then you're adding that to the Nathan Aspinalls and the Alex Kostas and the Jimmy Lombardis. And you got Chris Thibodeau, who's been good around injuries in there. And it kind of turns into a little bit of an embarrassment of riches in terms of your forward group for the Firebirds. And because of that, yeah, they can go out and they can light it up. I mean, I think that some guys kind of were flying under the radar a little bit going into this season, especially a Kostov and Aspinall. And I think a lot of people were pointing at Jimmy Lombardi as he's definitely going to take a step forward for the Firebirds. But really the massive leap that Aspinall took, and then Kostov kind of blossoming into a legitimate NHL draft prospect later in his time in the OHL, is part of the reason why they were able to go out and add at the trade deadline and be that team that can beat you in a couple of different ways, playing that, hard-nosed, just make your life difficult with a good goaltender in the back, Mason Vicari, and then defense that's largely just been very strong in front of them. But then also, yeah, you can light it up. And I mean, we've seen this team put up 9 goals in a single game. I mean, we've seen them put up 7 goals in a single period. And when you have that kind of firepower, then you know that you're not really going to be out of any game, even if you start slow. And then when you have goaltending that's been as good as Mason Vicari has, you also know that you're going to be able to rely on him to make some saves back there that maybe you weren't expecting.
How rewarding is it for the franchise to see the growth of Nathan Aspinall?
I'd say that it's very much everybody you're going to meet in Flint has nothing but good things to say about Nathan Aspinall. And I've seen him for 3 seasons now, and he was here 1 year before I arrived. And that was a year that came in as a 2nd-round pick, and he didn't get a lot of ice time, didn't produce a lot, but everybody to a man in that dressing room and on the hockey staff, and then throughout the entire organization, just liked the kid. I mean, he was you hear just everybody talking about how happy they were for him when he finally got his first OHL goal in his rookie season. And then he takes a nice step forward in his 2nd year, gets drafted by the Rangers, and everybody's thrilled for him absolutely there. And it just kind of keeps building. And I remember when I got the word that he was going to be the captain this season, it was, our head coach, Paul Flash, gave me a heads up just a little bit before we were going to, be able to put the materials together and announce it and everything. And it was just like, he says, yeah, Aspie's going to be the captain, and you just by default you smile because he's just one of these kids who on a day in and day out basis, he's saying hi to everybody. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always happy to help out, volunteer to do something in the community, and he's turned into a legitimate leader in that room. And it's one of the coolest things I think about this level of hockey, where you see these kids come in and they're young, they're green, and then you see them kind of develop as a hockey player and into a young man and a leader. And there's a certain amount of pride, I think, that a lot of people who have been around the organization for Aspinall's entire time here, that they take in just how well he's played and the fact that he represents Flint and the Firebirds so strongly. It's really been great to see.
That was Brian Gardner, the radio voice of the Flint Firebirds. Here's a look at this week's CHL Top 10 rankings, brought to you by Delta Hotels by Marriott. The Brantford Bulldogs are the number 1 team representing the Ontario Hockey League, as they are 4th in the national rankings. The Ottawa 67s at 6, and the Barrie Colts come in at number 10. Meantime, lots of discussion about the OHL Power Rankings every week. You can check them out on the OHL social channels or at OntarioHockeyLeague.com. That's going to do it for our show this week. You've been listening to OHL News. I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us.
It is the second intermission here at the Dordt Financial Center in Flint, Michigan, where the Barrie Colts right now trailing the Firebirds by a score of 3-1. We do have the chat up and running, so if you want to join in the conversation, you can feel free to put your comments or questions down. I see we got a couple of comments to get to, but in the meantime, we do have 9 other games going on in the OHL. I saw the post by the Ontario Hockey League commenting that all 20 are playing, but not the 2 Quebec teams.
No, not the 2 Quebec teams that went 0-4 in the OHL. That's their words, not mine. Anyway, so Brantford up 3-1 on Owen Sound after 2 periods. That Bulldogs power play again, 2 for 3 on the night. Erie up 2-1 on the Sioux Greyhounds. The Sioux having a bit of a tough weekend here, and then Kitchener. They're really rolling here in the month of January. They're up 4-1 on Windsor after 2 periods. Finally got some goal scoring in London. It's the Knights up 2-1 on the North Bay Battalion with 11 seconds left in the second period. 2 goals in the first, 2 goals in the second for the Ottawa 67s. They're up 4-1 on Peterborough. Kingston up 2-1 on Sudbury going to the third period. And then a 3-goal second period from Niagara made that game a score of 4-2. Riley Patterson with a pair. 2-2 in Sarnia in the matchup between Saginaw and the Sting. And then the Brampton Steelheads, goals from Arda and D'Amiglio, up 2-0 on Guelph going into the third period.
Yeah, the Brampton team desperately looking for wins right now. We're about 6.5 minutes away from the start of the third period. Want to thank everyone for tuning in and who's been taking part in the chat so far here tonight, including Liam, who says at least Flint fans don't need high visibility vests if they break down on the way home. And that is one thing about this Flint Firebirds team. They embrace the color orange. They're not wearing their third jerseys tonight, which are kind of like the Edmonton Oilers when they had those bright orange uniforms. But it's kind of nice. It's different seeing orange when the rest of the league, you got a lot of the blues. You got the yellows and the greens and whatnot. So it is nice that the Flint Firebirds do have a unique color. And like Liam says, it's high visibility out there.
Yeah, they're pretty bright out there on the ice. They got the orange, they got the blues. They actually gave us in the media kit today their record
I love this.
when they wear a certain jersey. So in the blue jerseys, Flint is 12-4-1-1. In the white jerseys, 13-5-0-0. In orange, they're 3-2-0-1, and in specialty jerseys, they're 1-1-1-0. So that'd be the Connie Dog jerseys from last week.
They also wore the referee jerseys.
And then blanking on what the other one they've done this year so far. They've got a bunch of them, and they got all these ideas. So you want to buy a jersey, come to Flint because they have many different styles and.
Well, we were talking before the game with Brian, who does the play-by-play for the TV here with Flint Firebirds, and he was talking about how they want to, continue this specialty jersey program. They've had the Flint Tropics in the past and some Christmas sweaters and whatnot, but I'd like to see the Plymouth Whalers brought back.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool one
because I really miss that logo from the OHL. So I think if the Flint Firebirds wanted to dive into their history and bring in a Plymouth Whalers jersey.
I love the referee jerseys, especially because the refs end up in these old school jerseys because they can't wear
the beige.
They have to wear the beige. It's pretty fancy to see, but yeah, Flint does a really good job with the jerseys, and obviously they won't need high visibility vests on their way home. They can just fire out the jersey, and luckily down here, not as much snow as back home. Talking with William Schneid, that's one thing he did mention. I said, what's differences with the lifestyle? He's like, well, we just got pummeled with snow this year, didn't we?
Didn't we? Now, Riley brings up a fun question. Who do you guys think are going to win each of the divisions and conferences? Because there's a couple of races right now very close. I'm thinking about the East Division with Brantford and Ottawa. And then even in the West Division, Flint and Windsor, they're going down to the wire. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think could come away with the divisions?
That's a really good and fun question. For the let's start in the Eastern Conference. We'll go division, then conference. I'm going to take the Barrie Colts. I think
that's because they're 16 points up.
Maybe because they're 16 points up. That's the nice thing. They've got such a big gap that it doesn't sound like we're biased. 16 points this late in the season. That's going to be very hard for North Bay and Niagara to overcome. And for the Barrie Colts, they've been playing some really good hockey. This is really the first game they've kind of struggled in since the trade deadline. I know last week, a really tough third period, but for the first 40 minutes, I thought they were pretty good. And so I think at the end of the day, they're going to take the Central Division. In the East, both teams tied at 71 points, 46 games played. I'm going to give the edge to the Brantford Bulldogs, who I'm also going to give the Eastern Conference #1 seed to. That team is just so talented. It's so hard to see them coming in as the 3 seed. And that's one of the advantages the Barrie Colts do have right now. If Brantford finishes with 100 points, Ottawa finishes with 99, if Barrie finishes with 98, it goes Brantford, Barrie, Ottawa because the Barrie Colts win their division. So that's a bit of an advantage for them. Am I carrying over to the Western Conference?
Yeah, why don't we talk a bit about the Western Conference? Because we do have a couple of good races going on right now in the West and the Midwest.
Yeah, so let's start in the Midwest. The Kitchener Rangers are up by 10 points right now on the London Knights. It's kind of a two-way battle there, and I think at the end of the day, Kitchener, they're a bit of a more talented team. They have two of London's old players in Sam O'Reilly, Jared Woolley. So I'm going to take the Rangers. They've had a really good month of January. Some of the bottom teams have been playing them tough, but they're able to come out with the victory. Kind of similar to Brantford. Some of these bottom tier teams still have a chance in those games. They're not blowing them out, but at the end of the day, they do get the wins. And Kitchener bringing it to Windsor tonight. They've looked really good. And over in the West Division, you got Windsor, you got Flint. Windsor at 68, Flint at 66, and then the Sioux at 60 points. And that's a tight race. And, if the Flint Firebirds play like they do tonight, I'd have to hand it to Flint. I mean, they've been really impressive tonight. They've had a ton of chances in the offensive zone, but for the most part as well, they've shut down the Barrie Colts. They've shut down all 4 lines of Barrie in the defensive zone tonight. So if Flint can keep that up, I'm going to take them to the Western Division. And then I'll say Kitchener first place
Yeah?
in the Western Conference. I saw a photo the last time they were first in the West at the end of the season earlier this week posted online. So maybe that's a bit of a good omen. I'll take Kitchener for first in the West.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. But the race is with 22, 21 games remaining for everybody. It's going to be fun. We got, I think, 6 weeks remaining in the OHL schedule. So 6 more weeks, and then it's going to be playoff hockey. So it's going to be fun to see how things all play out. And both teams now back on the ice, getting ready for the third period in just a moment's time. I see Darcy is on the chat saying, "Go Barrie, go!" And then Liam, bringing out the stats here. He learned that Barrie has the 7th highest snowfall in all Canadian cities, and they don't put that on the city website.
Come to Barrie.
We've had so much
Oh,
snow
my
this year. I think it's 300 centimeters, so that's 9.5 feet of snow since November 1st. Like, come on. We need a break.
Oh, unfortunately, I graduated. This would be a good year for snow days.
My kids, well, my oldest, he takes the bus, and he's had so many snow days. And yet, because I work in radio, I never get a snow day. So I have to tell everyone that the buses are canceled.
You get home every morning from work and you open the door and your son's just sitting there. You're like, oh, great, again.
I don't get my nap. So we are just about ready to go for the third period of play between the Firebirds and the Colts. Barrie's going to have to dig deep here. Down 3-1 after 40 minutes of play, heavily outshot 31-13. As Cole Broadway sets to take the draw against Jimmy Lombardi, and we are back underway. Face-off won by the Firebirds. Allen's going to send this one ahead. It's deflected, so no icing. That puck's going to go deep into the Barrie zone. Aitchison can't get a stick on it. Zabeski's there for the Colts. Sends it up to Passmore. Here's Bodwin. Cole Bodwin skates this one up for Barrie. Takes it down low. Bodwin trying to cut to the net. Takes the shot. Stop. Rebound. Scores! Mason Zabeski, his first as a Barrie Colt. And the Colts, they're within 1.
Well, Dylan Smoskowitz switching things up here, putting Zabeski up with the top line, and it works out. And kind of similar last week against Niagara. The Colts find themselves down going into the third, and it's Cole Bodwin getting aggressive right off the bat, driving the net. An initial save there made by Bakari, but as he's diving out to get on that rebound, Zabeski dives on in and gets the goal. We're talking before the game, it's taking him a while to get the scoring going, but he's brought that physical presence and gotten in the crease there, and he gets it in there, getting a chance on this top line, and he makes it a 1-goal game.
So Mason Zabeski, first as a Colt, now 14 on the season. And the Barrie Colts, they have some life here in this hockey game. We'll see if they continue the momentum as that coming in the first 30 seconds of the third period. Passmore sends it into the zone. It goes off Bodwin. There's a big hit. Zabeski on the forecheck. Firebirds get it out. Puck's taken away at center ice. Zabeski gets onside. Hemming will enter the zone. Emil Hemming hits the break. Sends it down low to Bodwin. Both Bodwin along the boards. He's in a battle there with Janskis. Wilmot from the corner in front. Goes up top. Stopped by Vakari. Wilmot in front. Hemming stopped again by Vakari. The Barrie Colts, they have found another gear here, and they are pouring on the chances.
Well, Wilmot on the second line now for the Colts, and kind of worked out. He was the only guy to come on the ice so far, so that top line gets reunited again, and a couple good looks there. Wilmot gets a chance. Hemming gets an opportunity, and Barrie, Arvin Jaswal kept them in this game. 2-goal game going into the third. Sometimes you don't need a full 60. A good 20 will sometimes get the job done in the third, and if they keep up this pace, they should be able to tie this game.
Firebirds get this one out to the center ice area, picked up by Parker Von Richter. Von Richter had his pocket picked by He. Kevin He back to Battaglia, gives it up to He. He'll hit the brakes. Von Richter trying to reach around. Kevin He comes back to the point for the Firebirds. Riding the blue line, stays with it, takes the shot. Jaswal the save. Puck goes to the corner. He's run over, colliding there with Justin Hanser. Hanser from the corner. He'll skate it back behind his own net. Hanser taking his time as we're a minute and a half now into this third period. Hanser reaches center. Takes his time. He's going to dump it in. Around the boards it goes. Smith back to play it for Flint. Sends this one around. Battaglia chasing after the loose puck. Picked up by Gardner. Taken away by He. Kevin He. They'll lose an edge. Colts, though, take the puck away. Play continues. Wilmot to Von Richter. Von Richter dropping it back to Emerton. Murata was there. Murata, he blows a tire. Gives some space here to Cole Emerton. Emerton through the neutral zone. He's going to dump it in. Far corner. Allen, first one on it for Flint. Sends this one around. Cunningham gets this one out. Murata can't get a stick on it. Battle along the near boards. Here's Cole Emerton now. Across to Eliason. Back to Emerton. Cole Emerton doesn't get all that pass. Cunningham picks it off. It's a broken stick for Emerton. Cunningham weaves, fires, puts that one wide of the net. Puck's bouncing out to center ice. Desiderio got a stick on it. Icing is waved off. Back to play it. That's Fellinger. Fellinger gets this one ahead. Cunningham from his own blue line puts it across. Murata trying to bat it in the zone. Ends up behind the Barrie net. Aitchison bracing for the hit there. That was Colosimo who was putting on pressure. Eliason, backhand pass over to Aitchison. Aitchison through center. He'll send this one ahead. Janskis, he'll pick this one up, puts it to the near boards. Cunningham now for Flint. Flips this one deep into the Colt zone. Passmore after the loose puck. Passmore up to Crombie. Calvin Crombie. He'll pass this one forward, finds Zabeski. Mason Zabeski flips this one deep, ends up behind the Flint net. Janskis picks it up, but Bodwin goes crashing into the boards. And it's a penalty against Lombardi. It's going to be for a trip. Jimmy Lombardi and the fans here do not agree. But the Barrie Colts, they're going on the power play here.
Bodwin a bit slow to get up there, but looks like he's okay. As Lombardi really not happy with that call. He was stunned when he got called. Taking another look as the two of them tied up as they go around the boards, and Bodwin loses an edge going down into the boards there, and that'll set up the Colts with a power play. An interesting note there, the Barrie Colts did skip a line. They only ran 3 lines out there. The top 2 lines, then Newton came out with Crombie and Desiderio, then it was right back to the top line.
Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. It's the second power play of the night for the Barrie Colts, and the Firebirds right away get it down the length of the ice. Aitchison back to play. It takes the hit. Von Richter collects it here for the Colts. Ahead for Bodwin. He'll skate it through center. Bodwin enters the zone, trying to get around Fellinger. Bodwin from the corner hits the brakes. Sends it back to the point, picked up by Hemming. Hemming's pass is deflected. Aitchison settles it down. Sends it down to Bodwin from the corner. His pass deflected. Hemming after it. He'll come back to the point. Emil Hemming to the high slot. Drops it back to Von Richter. Von Richter fires. Stopped by Bakari. Puck takes a weird bounce behind the net. Stays in play. Bodwin right now trying to dig this puck free. Salandra's there as well. He'll send it around to Von Richter. 1:10 left in the power play. Von Richter trades places with Hemming. Goes back to Emil Hemming on the far boards. Loses it in his skates. Down low to Salandra. Fans on the pass attempt. He's tripped up. Another penalty against the Firebirds. And the fans are not happy about this, as that's going to be another trip against the Firebirds.
Well, 5-on-3 opportunity here for Barrie for the next 59 seconds. Is heading to the box there, Dryden Allen. It's Hemming in the corner trying to spin off of, Salandra trying to spin off of Allen and gets the stick in there. Timeout going to come here, Ref you suck chant going right now. I thought this was the place that loved the referees in the OHL.
Well, they're not wearing the referee jerseys tonight, so I guess their opinions have changed a little.
Well, I was looking down the store before the game. They had some I Heart referee shirts, so they try and act like they love them throughout the year, but maybe it's only a one-night thing.
So it is going to be a 5-on-3 situation here for the Barrie Colts. Dylan Smoskowitz calling the timeout as they see an opportunity to tie this hockey game. They were down 3-1 at the start of this third period. But the Colts, they've just poured it on, getting back into this hockey game.
Tons of pressure early on in the period. First couple of minutes, they were really good, and that ends up getting a goal, drawing a penalty. And now
you're getting distracted right now.
Well, they're doing the chipmunk doing the AO, but they got a jersey on
They
them.
put the Flint jersey on it.
There's a little hot wing in it.
You're easily distracted.
I'm sorry, okay? It was really funny.
It was funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's a 5-on-3 situation for 59 seconds. Face-off won by the Colts. Emil Hemming has it at point, goes to Aitchison. Aitchison down low, Bodwin from the corner. Goes behind the net for Gardner. Back to Bodwin. Those two play catch. Bodwin gets it again. Looks in front. Goes back to Gardner. Bodwin. Back to Hemming. Stopped by Vicari. Rebound. They jam at it. They can't get it past the defense. Firebirds dive at it. And they'll get it out to center. Kayshawn Aitchison gets it at center ice. Carries this one in for the Colts. Following it up is Bodwin. Goes to Wilmot. Ben Wilmot in the corner. Back to Aitchison. Aitchison sends it across to Hemming. Hemming down low to Gardner. Gardner back to Hemming. Hemming. Aitchison winds up. Doesn't take the shot. Looks down low. Goes to Cole Bodwin. Bodwin coming back towards the point. 10 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Bodwin. Aitchison. One-timer kicked aside. Vakari. Puck's loose. Firebirds get to the point. Not out. Kept in by Aitchison. Aitchison waits to the side of the net, but Gardner can't get a stick on it. Firebirds get it out. Lombardi's out of the penalty box. Short-handed chance. Jimmy Lombardi holds, fires. What a save by Jaswal. Oh, my goodness. Jaswal stuck out that right pad. The Colts come the other way. Cole Bodwin towards the net. Passes it across. It goes off Lombardi. Bucks in the corner. Colts dig this one free. Wilmot to Hemming. Across. Shot wide of the net by Aitchison. Bodwin behind the Flint net. He'll pass it back to Brad Gardner. Gardner over to Hemming. 30 seconds left in the power play. Fires. Stopped by Vakari. They swing at it. But Mason Vakari able to hold on. But oh my goodness. Chances at both ends of the ice.
What action on the power play. A couple of great looks there for the Colts. And it's Lombardi, though, coming out of the box as it's cleared. He gets a chance all alone. Fakes on the backhand, and Jaswal able to stick the pad out on the forehand to make an amazing stop there. And this crowd frustrated after those two penalty calls says, come on, Hames here. They are as rowdy as can be, losing their mind at every clear the Firebirds make.
Colts get it off the draw. Von Richter goes back to Emerton. Emerton fires, and that's deflected over the net. Salandra after the loose puck. He'll send it back to Emerton. 12 seconds left in the power play. Von Richter down to Crombie. Crombie takes the shot, scores! What a shot! Calvin Crombie from a tight angle somehow puts that one over the shoulder and into the net. Wow!
I didn't know he could do that.
Calvin Crombie!
What a shot from the Colts overage forward as Colts working the puck around. It's Von Richter getting it down low to Crombie, and he just waits it out and sees a little opening underneath or above Mason Vakari's shoulder. Again, Vakari, 5'11", a bit on that short side, and Crombie able to take advantage, flipping it over top. A really nice play there for Crombie.
What a shot, Calvin Crombie. And for Crombie now, that's 10 goals on the season. But what a shot there. And the Barrie Colts, they're back in this hockey game after being down by 2. So it's a brand new hockey game. 13:44 left to go. Crombie sends it across to Desiderio. He's going to dump this one in off the end boards. Janskis takes the hit. Desiderio picks it up. Newton doesn't take the shot. Goes back to Eliason. Von Richter takes the shot into the crowd. Vakari the save. He's going to pounce on it. He had Desiderio and Crombie parked out in front. Now we've got Jaden Newton mixing it up with one of the Firebird players. That's Graziano. Now they're going to go toe-to-toe. Jaden Newton and Graziano. Newton's got that right free, and he's just laying it on Graziano as he gets the jersey over his head. But what a spirited tilt that was, and Newton riling up his own bench.
What a fight there. And not sure if Graziano's helmet came off beforehand. Not sure if it was just knocked off unintentionally or if Newton hit it off. We'll have to see what the penalties are coming out of that as Crombie tried to jam away, and that drew the initial crowd. And then Newton and Graziano going at it in the background. The two of them go at it there, trying to get loose. And yeah, Newton kind of went after the helmet there of Graziano, and the official pointed. Not sure if that's going to be the penalty, but then as the two dropped the gloves, Newton was able to get that right free, and it was kind of over from there.
So nothing has been posted on the board as of yet for penalties, and I'm wondering if this is just going to even out. But my, oh my, this third period has been something else. After a second where the Flint Firebirds just seem to just take over, this third has just been taken up a notch. Feels like a playoff game out there.
Well, the crowd's gotten into it as well. And we mentioned before the game, that playoff atmosphere in Brantford, it took a while to get to that part of it. But now we're starting to feel it here between these two teams. I mean, you know, you look at the standings, 66 points for Barrie, 66 points for Flint. So at the end of the day, if these two teams were ever to match up in a potential finals matchup, you want to have more points than that other team, especially with how far the travel would be between Barrie and Flint.
So what a hockey game this has been. And remember, the shots were pretty lopsided for the Flint Firebirds. They're at, what was it, 31-13?
Sounds right.
And now it's 33-22. Face-off won by the Colts. Hemming puts that one wide of the net. Aitchison, after the loose puck, drops it back to Hemming. In front of Bodwin. Bodwin on his backhand. That's blocked by Podrekar. Podrekar gives it to Lombardi. Puck goes to the far side. Aitchison gets to it. Keeps it down low. Lombardi skates into the official. Zabeski back to Hemming. His shot stopped by Vakari. Colts just continue to get their chances. It's like a whole different team out there right now.
That's not a team we saw in the first two periods, that's for sure. Shots on goal after two periods, 31-13. Now here in the third period, shots on goal 11-2 in favor of the Barrie Colts. Kind of having a period similar to that first period by Flint.
So face-off comes to the right of Vakari. Bodwin takes the face-off, wins this one back to Hemming. Kayshawn Aitchison takes the shot, stopped by Vakari. Loose puck picked up by Kostov. Kostov will send this one out to center ice. Pazzi collects it. Ignat Pazzi losing the handle of it. Sends it around. Thibodeau behind the net. Taken away by Aitchison. Colts trying to get this one out of the zone. Loose puck. Pazzi gets it again for the Firebirds. He takes a bump there from Hemming. Keeps it in the zone. Down low to Thibodeau. Thibodeau along the boards. Hits the brakes. Hemming reaching for it. Takes it away and gives it to Passmore. Kayshawn Aitchison after loose puck. Drops it to Passmore. Passmore will send it to the near side. Hemming. He'll chip this to the line. Not out. Zabeski back to Hemming. Pazzi takes it here for the Firebirds. Pazzi stays with it. Forced to the corner. Takes a check there from Hemming. Puck comes back to the point. Colts recover. They'll get it out. Zabeski ahead to Bodwin. Cole Bodwin trying to get around Allen. He'll hit the brakes. Colts making a line change. Bodwin down low by himself. He falls. Play continues. Wilmot picks it up here for the Colts. Back to Hanser. Justin Hanser to Emerton. Emerton back to Hanser. They move it quickly. Bodwin fires, and that one's blocked. Getting in the way was Allen. Another chance, and that's deflected out of play with 11:58 to go here in this third period. As Barrie just playing some dominant hockey right now.
They've been all over Flint. That's really the first time the Firebirds have had to go back the other way outside of that breakaway from Lombardi coming out of the penalty box. It's been all Colts for the first 8 minutes of this period.
Face off to the right of Vakari. Wilmot's going to take the draw up against Jacob Battaglia. Battaglia wins this face off. Janskis can't hold it. Colts get it to the line, but that's going to escape the zone. Emerton at the point. He'll dump this one in. Vakari slows it down behind the net, leaving it for Podrekar. Podrekar sends it up. That's knocked out down the ice by Kevin He. Hanser back to play it for the Colts. Hanser passes it up to Wilmot. Wilmot at center. Sends us into the Flint zone. Doesn't go too far. Podrekar gives it up to Salandra. Salandra to Gardner. Gardner from the corner. Backhand pass. That doesn't connect. That's going to sail out to center ice where Von Richter will collect it. Von Richter up to Gardner. Back to the defenseman. Von Richter in the neutral zone to Wilmot. He's just going to send it around the boards. Ends up behind the Flint net. That's going to be sent around. Here's Von Richter along the boards. Down low, Ujanskis. He'll collect it for Flint. Sends this one around. Anderson gets it on the far side. Anderson forced to go back towards his net. Being pressured there by Crombie. Anderson gets it out. He's got speed through center now. Anderson takes a hit there from Desiderio. Colts recover. Calvin Crombie through center. That pass blocked. Picked up here by Desiderio. Drops it to Crombie. Crombie kicks it ahead to Desiderio. Nicholas Desiderio, hard hit into the boards. Stays on his feet. Desiderio back to Von Richter. Quick shot in front. Schneid stopped by Vakari. Desiderio, he's hauled down. Lombardi comes up with it. Jimmy Lombardi passes it up through center ice. That's Darian Anderson. That's going to go wide of the net. Von Richter, he'll continue it along the boards. Bellinger back after it. Icing is waved off. Ujanskis in the corner. Takes a bump from Desiderio. Good work on the forecheck here from Nicholas Desiderio. He's going to go off for a change now. Approaching 10 minutes here in this third period. We are tied at 3. Aspinall at center. Up to Lombardi. He stood up by Zabeski. Aspinall taking it down low for Flint. Around the net. Hits the brakes. Aitchison falls over. Aspinall up the middle. Ujanskis across. Jaswal's down. He lost a stick. That shot's scored! From the point, that's Podrakar. But Jaswal, he was bumped in the crease. I'm sure the Colts are going to take a look at this.
We'll have to see if Aitchison or Passmore ran into the replay started right after it happened, and both Aitchison and Passmore right there, and then Podrakar shoots it before Jaswal can get situated, and Flint, it's been a tough period for them, but they get the one opportunity, and they're able to find the back of the net, and Barrie looks like they're good, so it'll be a 4-3 game.
Yep, they're not going to challenge this one, so it's 4-3 for the Firebirds. Irvin Podrakar, that's 8 goals on the season. As we'll see how the Barrie Colts respond here. Face-off, won by the Colts. Passmore sends it back to Aitchison. Deshaun Aitchison. Over to the near side, it's Passmore. He's going to dump it in. Around the boards it goes, but we get a whistle. I believe it's for an offside. And they'll bring this one back. 9:44 left to go.
Well, a killer there, obviously, for Barrie, but they just got to reset and get back going. They've dominated this period, and if they can keep it up, they'll still have a few more chances here to tie this game and maybe even get out in front by the end of these next 10 minutes.
Well, Podrakar, he's been all over the ice tonight for the Flint Firebirds, so not really surprised seeing him get on the score sheet here tonight. Right now with that go-ahead goal, face-off won by the Firebirds. Allen at the point, sets up Fellinger, takes the shots, and Jaswal makes the glove save. He had Lombardi parked in front, but he's able to hold on.
Well, Yansky and Podrakar, those are the top 2 guys when it comes to offense on the back end for Flint, and they take advantage. They've had really good games again tonight, and they've been all over the ice.
So face-off to the left of Jaswal, 9:39 left in the clock. Face-off won by the Colts. Aitchison sends this one to the line, not out. Zabeski trying to get it out, kept in again by the Firebirds. Lombardi takes the shot, score! Jimmy Lombardi picks off the corner, and just like that, the Firebirds are back up by 2.
Well, it doesn't take long with Flint. When you give them their opportunities, they take advantage, and they do it again there. Jimmy Lombardi scored the last time these two teams met up. Aspinall does a nice job keeping it in the zone. Then it hits off Zabeski, comes to the middle, and Lombardi able to go glove side on Arvin Jaswal. And in about a minute here, the Firebirds have flipped this game right back into their favor and have restored their 2-goal lead.
What a snipe there from Jimmy Lombardi. That's now 26 goals on the season, and suddenly the Firebirds up 5-3 after the Colts had battled back to tie it at 3 apiece. Face-off won by the Firebirds. Podrakar. They'll just send this one into the Barrie zone. Jaswal out of his net to play it. Leaves it there for Von Richter. Von Richter. They'll skate this one up for the Colts. Long pass, Salandra. They'll skate this one in for Barrie. He's taken down. And they're going to call a penalty on that. So looks like this might be a high stick. 2 minutes. So the Barrie Colts going back on the man advantage here.
Well, just like that, the Colts have another chance here in this game. It's been quite the third period. We've already had 4 goals between the two teams as Alyansky gets that stick up on Salandra in the face. And looks like the official did say 2 minutes. And very power play. If they can get another goal here, we'll have a chance.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Barrie right now 1 for 3 on the power play as they win the faceoff. Von Richter has it at the point. Parker Von Richter gives this one up to Hemming from the half boards. Hemming across, one-timer Bodwin. That breaks the stick of the Firebird player in front, Lombardi. Bodwin back to Von Richter. Hemming settles it down. He'll go back to Von Richter. Bodwin doesn't take the shot. Still with it, down to Aitchison. One-timer stop by Vicari, and the Firebirds will get this one out. Jaswal out of his net. He's going to leave it there for the defense. Power play still minute 27 to work with. Von Richter back to Cole Bodwin. Bodwin through the neutral zone, goes to Hemming. Up ahead to Aitchison. Hemmick from the corner sends this one around, hits the broken stick. Over to Solandra. Aitchison, one-timer, didn't get all of that. Ends up in the corner. He sends it back to Von Richter. Von Richter across, but that's picked off by Koskov. Koskov skates it up short-handed. He's got Kevin He to the net. He shot stopped by Jaswal. Nice save there from the Colts netminder. 55 seconds left in the penalty to Janskis. Hemmick. He's going to leave it there for Cole Bodwen. Bodwen through the neutral zone, weaving his way nearly offside. Aitchison from the half-boards. Down low to Bodwen. Bodwen in front, lost the handle of it, and the Firebirds will get it out. 36 seconds now left in the man advantage, as both teams will make changes. Cole Emerton comes up with it for the Colts. He's got speed, reaches the blue line at center, drops it back to Wilmot. Crombie up ahead, gets the loose puck himself. Crombie from the corner sends it back. Shot, Gardner scores! Brad Gardner winds up and fires it home. And the Colts, they're back within one.
Well, 3 goals here in the third period for the Colts, all by their overage players. This is Gardner getting the goal, open out in the middle, and then Fellinger down to a knee trying to block it, but Gardner gets it past him, and Bakari can't get it. Brad Gardner with the 5th goal of the period combined between these two teams is, well, the first 2 periods dominated by Flint, and there really wasn't much else to say, but this third has just been wild.
Now remember, it was 3-1 coming into this third period, now 5-4. And that's now 2 power play goals for the Barrie Colts, and Brad Gardner now sitting on 22 goals. As the Colts try to get back into this hockey game, they have it down low in the Flint zone. Crombie trying to dig it free. It's taken away there by the Firebirds. Smith skates it out for Flint, sends it into the Barrie zone. Brady Smith, he'll send this one around. Crombie after the loose puck. Can't get it out of the zone. Ujanska sends it across. Graziano, his shot wide of the net. In front, fires. That's blocked. Kevin He's shot looked like it went off Crombie and straight up into the air. Puck sent deep into the Barrie zone. Hanser back to play it. Justin Hanser, he's got speed. Reaches center ice. He's going to dump this one in. Colts are making a line change. Puck goes to the corner. 6:43 left here in this third period. Allen, he'll dump this one in. Far side. Battaglia after it for Flint. In front, hits the side of the net. Battaglia gets it again. Taken away here by the Colts. Wilmot up ahead for Joe Solandra. Solandra at center. He's going to dump this one in around the stanchion. Colts trying to keep it down low. They got the forecheck going. Solandra after it. Sends us back to the blue line. Thibodeau gets it out for Flint. Eliason's going to send it back into the Firebird zone. 6:10 now remaining. Jacob Battaglia dropping it back to Allen. Battaglia, far side in the Flint zone. Up ahead, Ujanskis. In the neutral zone to Cunningham. Got a stick on it, rolls on net. Jaswal not taking any chances. And he's going to hold on to a face-off. As now we get pushing and shoving in the corner. Not surprised seeing Gabriel Eliason in the middle of it. It almost looks like the Firebirds just trying to get the defenseman to take a penalty right now.
Well, Flint probably looking for one, as Colts have gotten 3 power plays this period to Flint's none. And, well, obviously, for Barrie, they come out flying here in the third period. And then on top of that, Flint a bit undisciplined, giving up these power play opportunities. And the Colts are back in this game. It hasn't been that top unit getting the goals. Cal Crombie, Brad Gardner, both on the second unit with the goals for the Barrie Colts here in the third period.
Shots right now favoring Flint 37-28. But remember, after the first 40 minutes, it was heavily lopsided in shots for the Firebirds, and they had that 3-1 advantage. So a much better third period here for the Barrie Colts. But right now, find themselves down by 1.
15 shots for Barrie. It's been a really good period for them. But at the end of the day, I mean, they had a couple bad minutes there, and then all of a sudden it's 5-3 again, and then they have to score to just get back in this game. And now we have an interesting look here. Bodwin centering Wilmot and Zabeski. Emil Hemming not out there with them.
Dylan Smoskowitz deciding to change up the lines here, trying to get something going to get this game tied. This faceoff will come to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Jimmy Lombardi tossed out of the faceoff dot. Aspinall steps in, won by the Colts. Aitchison behind his own net, sends it forward. Quick change there at the bench. Here's Hemming onto the bench. He's taken down. Big hit by Graziano. Aspinall picks up the loose puck for Flint. He's going to dump this one in. Von Richter back to play it for the Colts. Parker Von Richter up to Emil Hemming. Drops it back to Zabeski. Mason Zabeski through center ice. Kates this one in. Janskas takes him into the boards. Zabeski stays on his feet. Lombardi up to Aspinall. He'll hammer this one down the ice. Anderson after it. Won't be an icing. Anderson blocked by Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison with possession here for the Barrie Colts. He'll skate this one up. Reaches center and dumps this one in. Graziano on the far side gets a stick on it. Up ahead to Anderson. He'll flip it up ice. Aspinall after the loose puck. Aspinall to the net. Stopped by Jaswal. Gabriel Eliason comes up with it. Over to Zabeski. Zabeski weaving through center. Puck rolled on him. Fellinger gets this one out. Bouncing at the Colts blue line. Emerton over to Eliason. Gabriel Eliason taking his time here. 4:50 left to go in the hockey game. Emerton up the wing. Newton gets a stick on it. No icing. Crombie trying to get to it. Fellinger cuts him off. Fellinger sends it around to Thibodeau. Thibodeau gets it out and down the ice. Won't be enough for icing. Emerton picks it up here for the Colts. Cole Emerton from the blue line sends this one ahead. Goes off Newton. Firebirds send it back. Kostov in the neutral zone. His pass off Desiderio. Kostov gets it again. Newton was in the way. Puck's just rolling. There's Thibodeau. He is down, not moving. I didn't see what happened to Thibodeau, but he is down on the ice. Now he's getting up as soon as there was a whistle. I don't think we're getting a penalty here. I'm not sure what happened to Thibodeau. He was laying motionless at the blue line. Now he's just going to skate off.
That was weird.
Was he? Okay.
Well, he went down like I thought he was knocked out. And then
he wasn't moving.
Well, here's the replay. And
okay, now we're
base.
So Nicholas Desiderio, they just showed the replay on the scoreboard here at center ice, and Desiderio caught him up high. So I think they're going to review this one. And yeah, Thibodeau now, he's going down the tunnel. So they're getting the tablet. They're going to review this. So I think Desiderio, he's going to be getting a penalty here for that hit.
Well, and if it is 5 as well, there's only 4:17 left. So the Colts, they'd have to not only kill off the penalty, but they'd have to score shorthanded.
So Nicholas Desiderio now being taken to the penalty box. So they're going to call this a 5-minute major because then they can review it. So that's what they're doing right now. They've got the tablet. I don't think this is going to take long.
It probably shouldn't have if that was, unless they have some other angle that shows it closer. But that looked pretty nice today as Thibodeau doesn't have the puck and Desiderio just kind of runs the elbow up high on him. And yeah, it was weird though. Like Thibodeau's laying there, like he's not moving anything. And then the whistle went. He was up like
he got up like a shot, but
maybe just adrenaline.
We didn't during the live action. We didn't see what happened, but seeing that replay, there was definitely head contact. But we'll wait and see. They're taking a good look at this on the tablet. And again, this is where penalties are becoming a problem for the Barrie Colts. And this is likely going to be a 5-minute major. And that would mean the Barrie Colts would be shorthanded for the rest of the hockey game.
Momentum in this third has been heavily in favor of the Colts, and they were going to have 4 minutes to work with here to tie this game. And the amount of pressure they'd had in the first 15, almost 16 minutes of this period, but now they may be shorthanded for the rest of the night.
I'm a little surprised how long this review is taking. Because we saw the replay on the scoreboard. We got a monitor here in our broadcast booth. I thought it was clear that this is going to be if not, it should at least be interference. So they're coming off the tablet. Desiderio is in the penalty box right now. And we'll get the decision. Nicholas Desiderio still sitting in the penalty box.
He's not moving.
Oh, he's done. Oh. So I think he's done. Oh, wait, maybe. Yeah, 5 on the boards. Yeah, Desiderio's night. He's going to be done. So he's going to go down the tunnel. So the Flint Firebirds, they're going to have the power play for the rest of the hockey game. So it's a tough spot here for the Barrie Colts.
4:17 to go, and 5-minute power play. It never stops. Well, it stops after 5 minutes, but Flint could score 10 times here. It doesn't stop. So even if, Barrie, they allow 1, you're down by 2, 4 minutes to go, get back into, no, you're still shorthanded.
Well, we'll see if the Barrie Colts can get Jaswal on the bench for an extra, get the extra player, and then it's 5 on 5. This is now the 5th power play of the game. The Colts put it right on their own net, Von Richter. But Jaswal able to react, and he's going to hold on to it, and we'll try this face-off again.
Well, for Barrie here, if you can get away with, you get the goal here before Flint can get the extra 2-goal advantage. Maybe your penalty kill can take care of the job. They've done a pretty solid job the 2 times they've been shorthanded for 5 minutes this season. No goals against Owen Sound a couple of weeks ago, and then against the Sioux, they only gave up 1 goal on the 5-on-3.
Hemming tried to get it out of the zone. Padrekar was there. Kevin He sending it down low. He gets it again for the Firebirds. Back to Padrekar. He sends this one down low. Anderson to He. At the point, Padrekar reaching, fires, hits his teammate in front. Colts get it out. 2-on-1, shorthanded. Kayshawn Aitchison and Hemming. Aitchison fires and misses the net. That's going to sail all the way back into the Barrie zone. Anderson's there. Stopped by Eliason. Lombardi forced out to the neutral zone. Padrekar backtracking in his own end. 3.5 minutes left in the hockey game. Colts shorthanded. Desiderio off for the major. Thibodeau, who took that hit, he's back on the ice. At the point, Jajanskis takes the shot. Kicked aside by Eliason. Crombie will peel back. Calvin Crombie sends this one forward at center. Picked up by Thibodeau. Thibodeau skates this one in for Flint. He's going to send this one around the boards. Eliason after it. That one goes off the player at the point. Kept in. Battaglia with possession. Jake Battaglia, his shot blocked. Side of the net. Jaswal lost sight of it. Battaglia still with possession. Goes back to Jajanskis. Jajanskis sends it across. Here's Allen. Takes the shot. Blocked by Zabeski. Mason Zabeski gets this one out. Crombie, he'll just dump this one down the ice. 2:43 left to go in the hockey game. Flint with it. Here's Battaglia through the neutral zone. They'll skate this one into the zone. Hanser nearly took it away. In front alone, but Anderson fires it wide of the net. Battaglia back to Kostov. That'll escape the zone. Colts skated up shorthanded. Here's Brad Gardner. Across to Hanser. Hanser waits, scores! In front, Ben Wilmot shorthanded! And the Barrie Colts, they have tied this game at 5. Wow! They dug deep and they have tied it at 5 shorthanded.
This is maybe the most insane period of the year. What a play by Hanser, working his way around the defender there, sliding it across to Wilmot for the shorthanded marker. And the crowd here in Flint absolutely stunned as the Barrie Colts have killed off the first 2 minutes of this 5-minute power play and have tied this game. And now it'd be so huge, even if you still lose this game, to kill off the next 2:18 and get it into overtime and get a point here.
Well, 2:12 left to go. And if this goes to overtime, Flint will have the power play to start. But, oh my goodness, what a game here at the Dort. Firebirds have it in their own zone. Aspinall back to Padrekar. The arena, the fans here are stunned right now. Aspinall passing this one ahead. Colosimo takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Bodwin gets a stick on it. Drops it back to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison. Long pass for Hemming. That goes over his head and down the ice. Hemming behind the Flint net. Short-handed. Hemming, he's knocked down, trying to play it from his knees. Kevin He. They'll skate this one forward. 1.5 minutes remaining. Kevin He. He's got a burst of speed. Hits the brakes. Back to the line. Jajanskis. Here is Battaglia. Down low to Thibodeau. Christopher Thibodeau. Back to Battaglia. Battaglia with a shot. Knocked down by Von Richter. And the Colts will get it out. Parker Von Richter at center. Dumps this one in. He's going after it himself. Colts are making a line change as we're approaching the final minute of the third period. Here is Jujanskis across to Thibodeau. Thibodeau had to go off the back of his skate. Loose puck picked up by Von Richter. Up to Crombie. Jujanskis had his pocket picked there by Crombie. We're in the final minute. Here's Kostov. Kostov weaving his way in. Here's Thibodeau. Thibodeau sending it down low to Kostov. Kostov in front, backhand. Jujanskis waits, fires, puts that one wide of the net. Kostov picks up the loose puck. Skates to the middle. That shot goes over the net. Allen trying to knock it down, keeps it in the offensive end. Eliasson after the loose puck. He was tied up. Aitchison will put it to the corner. Jacob Battaglia back to the blue line, but that's going to sail back to the Flint zone. 20 seconds left to go. Firebirds move it up. Kostov at center. Here's Aspinall. Aspinall skating this one in. Takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. 6 seconds remaining. Side of the net. Firing it wide was Aspinall. Kostov at the point. Passes it across. The fans want a shot. There it is at the buzzer, but it's blocked. And this game is going to overtime. We've had so much fun. We need extra time. We have $20. And look at that. LC with the sticker, the goal sticker. I love it.
Oh, you know, 3-1 game after 2, even with the way the Colts have played through 2 periods. I thought there was still a chance for them to get back in this game, but I did not have 5-5 going to overtime after Barrie takes a 5-minute penalty on my bingo card. Just absolutely insane game here. Started with the Colts getting a pair of goals. Mason Zabeski right away to open the scoring in the period. Then Calvin Crombie on the power play tying the game at 3 apiece. Then Flint, though, 2 minutes was all it took for them to get back going. Urban Podrekar made it 4-3, and then right after that, Jimmy Lombardi made it 5-3. Looked like they were in control. Brad Gardner gets a power play goal, makes it a 1-goal game, and then again, that 5-minute penalty by Desiderio, and it looks like the Colts may be done for, but Ben Wilmot with a goal off a beautiful play by Justin Hanser. We're tied at 5 going to overtime.
Well, when Desiderio took that 5-minute major, it's like, okay, we know the Colts, they've put in, they've battled before shorthanded. We know that what they're capable of, but the way Flint was playing, it seemed highly unlikely that the Colts were going to come back, but they defied the odds. And Ben Wilmot, right now the hero, forcing overtime, tying this game at 5. And you can tell by the body language, too, when you look at the benches, the Flint Firebirds, they just look crushed.
Oh, they're probably stunned. I mean, I don't even know if the Barrie Colts believe they'd be getting back in this game, and him saying they're all on their feet in his living room. I want to do a quick look here while we have a second out of town. We'll just look quickly inside the division. Brampton picked up a 4-1 win over Guelph. North Bay currently in overtime with London. And after a 4-goal third, 6-4 your final, Oshawa beats Niagara. Wow.
Well, there's some big scores from the Central Division tonight. So we get some overtime. It's going to be a 43 seconds of power play time for the Firebirds. Emil Hemming is the one serving the penalty right now. So big face-off. Cole Bodwin against Lombardi. So it is a 4-on-3 situation. So both teams, they get a point, a very important point in their races in the conference. But who's going to get the extra? Aspinall puts this one across to Battaglia. Podrekar, he'll skate this one back. Leaves it for Aspinall. He's going to gain some speed through center. Drops this one back. Bodwin took a swing at it. Colts regain possession. Pass deflected. Aitchison knocks this one down. He's going to send it up ice. Bodwin thought about going after, but he lets up. Vakari, taking his time, leaves it there for Podrekar. Urban Podrekar, leaving it there for Lombardi. Jimmy Lombardi's got speed in the attacking zone. Lombardi around the net. Stays with it. Lombardi does a lap in the offensive end. The power play has come to an end. Lombardi fires that one wide of the net. And that puck goes out of play, so we'll get a whistle. And now it's even strength. And because of that whistle, it's going to be back to 3-on-3 here in overtime. And with the talent on both sides, we're in for an exciting finish.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a treat between these two teams. And one of the more underrated things that many fans may not realize in the rule book, Dylan Smoskowitz didn't have to send a player to the penalty box until absolutely necessary. So Emil Hemming was out there for 4 minutes and 20 seconds of that penalty kill, but then he's able to sit in the penalty box for the final 40 seconds there in overtime.
Colts win the faceoff. Aitchison tied up there by Kostov. Wilmot will dig it free. Wilmot gives it to Hemming. Emil Hemming's going to start things off here for the Barrie Colts. He's got room, reaches center. Hemming carrying this one in, trying to split the D. He does. To the net, shot, scores! Emil Hemming splits the D, puts it off the bar and in, and just like that, the Barrie Colts have come back to win this one.
Oh, what a finish.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man, the Barrie Colts have somehow won this game down 3-1, 5-3, 5-4 on a 5-minute penalty kill for the rest of the game. And the Barrie Colts have picked up the win and currently at home at center ice right now, celebrating this victory. What a finish here. What a goal by Emil Hemming, working his way through two defenders to find the back of the net. The Barrie Colts looked dead in the water multiple times there in the third period, but somehow, some way, are heading to Saginaw tomorrow with 2 points.
That was an unreal finish to this hockey game. Flint dominated the first two periods, but in the third, it's as if the Colts found another gear and were able to get into this hockey game and take this one away from the Firebirds. Like, what a finish here tonight.
Oh, man, it's just, there's so many words you could use to describe that finish. Like I said before overtime, I didn't think anything like that was going to happen in the third period. Amazing 2 games between these two teams this season. And the Barrie Colts 9-0 here in Flint. The Firebirds still yet to beat them here on home ice somehow, some way. What an effort by the Barrie Colts tonight. And they got to go right back at it tomorrow, though. A big matchup with the Saginaw Spirit. A chance to get 4 points here on this road trip. It'll be interesting to see how tired some of the big guys are going into tomorrow's games. They logged a lot of minutes there in the third period. Dylan Smoskowitz went down to 9 forwards, 6 defensemen there, and then a 10th forward got in after Desterio and Newton's penalties. But what a finish.
Well, I can't wait to have the coach's corner tomorrow in Saginaw, because that game, the first 40 minutes, the Barrie Colts just couldn't get anything going. They were being outshot 31-13 at one point. And in the third period, they score in that first 30 seconds. Then they score on the power play. Desiderio goes off for a 5-minute major. It looks like they're down and out. They're down by 1. But Ben Wilmot, the hero, ties the game. I didn't even get to the Calvin Crombie, that one shot from the corner.
He was nearly under the red line there, and he was able to find the back of the net somehow. It's just an improbable period by the Barrie Colts there. Mason Zabeski getting his first. I mean, a great play by Justin Hanser on that shorthanded goal. And I mean, Barrie almost had a shorthanded break 2 minutes before that. They had a 2-on-1 with Emil Hemming. Hemming didn't really realize the opportunity there, kind of slowed down to try and still play defense. Didn't realize the 2-on-1. That got broken up, but then Ben Wilmot finds back the net, and then Hemming. What a play there to get through Olyanski and Kostov in the offensive zone and beats Bakari and then says, it's over.
It's over. So our 3 stars presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities, new homes minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm. 3rd star of the game, Nathan Aspinall. Quiet. I felt like he had a quiet game here tonight, but he still got 2 assists. He's named the 3rd star of the game from the Flint Firebirds. Ben Wilmot, the 2nd star, a goal, 2 assists. He tied that game shorthanded. He was huge in this one. And then, no real surprise, Emil Hemming, the 1st star, a highlight of the night goal there, splits the D, gets a breakaway on Vicari, and wins it in comeback fashion here for the Barrie Colts. So your 3 stars, Aspinall, Wilmot, and Hemming.
You know, for tonight for the Barrie Colts, I mean, up until that overtime goal, Cole Baudouin and Emil Hemming held off the score sheet. And the other guys were getting the job done. Yeah, it's quality players getting the job done. But, I mean, Salandra gets that opening goal off of nice play by Passmore. Then it's Zabeski. Yeah, Baudouin, I believe, got an assist on that one. But that was it for Cole Baudouin tonight. I mean, Calvin Crombie, Brad Gardner on the second unit getting those power play goals. Ben Wilmot separated from the top line, makes a statement to Dylan Smosgood saying he should be right back on the top line tomorrow with a big shorthanded goal there to tie the game. And then, of course, Emil Hemming, fresh out of the box there in overtime, able to find the back of the net, gets the game winner for Barrie. And it'll be interesting to see going into tomorrow if the Barrie Colts they go back to the old lines or if there's some new lines here ready to go. And yes, like Duff's saying in the chat, the Brampton Steelheads are back in the win column. A big win over the Guelph Storm tonight. And, like we mentioned, first intermission,
if they get some points,
you get a win.
Yeah,
you start getting things going. Got to watch out.
And both Ottawa and Brantford won tonight in their game. So for the Barrie Colts, still 5 points back of the Bulldogs and the 67s for top spot in the Eastern Conference. But more importantly, the Barrie Colts find a way to come back, win it 6-5 in overtime. And then the Michigan trip continues. We're going to be in Saginaw tomorrow at the Dow Event Center as the Colts take on the Spirit. Puck drop is at 7:07, but we will have the live stream up and running at 6:45 as we make our one trip to Saginaw, and we'll see if it's going to be as exciting as this game. I hope so.
We keep getting these games back to back where the first game is just so insanely entertaining that the second game has like no chance to follow it up, and then by the second period, it's like, oh.
We'll see what happens, but
it should be a good one. Saginaw, they're a high-flying offensive team. They're not great in the record standpoint, but they got some really good offensive weapons. Colts aren't careful. Saginaw, they'll put up a couple goals.
So if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can click subscribe so you're notified when that live stream gets underway tomorrow evening as the Barrie Colts visit the Saginaw Spirits. So that'll do it for us here at the Dorp Financial Center in Flint, Michigan. For Josh McCann, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long as the Barrie Colts pull off the come-from-behind 6-5 victory in overtime.